You know what I notice when I look at myself and I'm glorious that
You feel
I actually
glorified?
well actually I pee golden. I swear to God. Well, I'm
Wow,
so
that's a great place. That's a great place to come in. You pea golden.
I,
Sweet.
I'm I'm so glorious that I pee. My pee is gold. I kid you not. It's looking really gold.
I want to get your kidneys checked, Michael. Hey, how are you doing? Haven't seen you for a while.
I'm doing okay, yeah. That reminded me of this guy I knew. His name was Frank Green, and he married a lady named Sally Pease, and so her name was Sally Pease Green.
Oh, that's lovely. That's
That's a true story.
my best one along the lines of people with unfortunate names. I used to work with a girl named Crystal. Her last name was Poole. And so I teased her about it. She goes, "Oh, no, it gets better than that." Her parents gave her the middle name of Clear. So her full name, her full legal name was Crystal Clear Poole.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I
Not
don't
as
get it.
funny. That's not as
Once
funny.
again, like I don't get that. What is so funny
Not as
about
funny
that?
as Sally Pease Green.
It isn't. What is Crystal P Crystal what's her name? Crystal Clear Pool?
Yeah, that was her name, full name.
So
Crystal Clear Poole.
so what? What
What do you mean, so
what?
what?
I don't
Are you
get it.
are you a Crystal Clear?
I think there was a governor in Texas that his name was Hogg, Hogg, and he had two daughters, Ira and Ura. I swear to God, I think that's a true story.
Sure, sure.
Could have been Louisiana. Ira and Ura Hogg. No, I'm good. How's yourself?
Hmm?
How is yourself?
I can give you the honest answer. I can give you the "oh, I'm fine" answer.
Give us a woe is me
Confess.
answer.
Confess.
Honest answer is I'm really having a hard time with my self-talk. My brain's going downhill. I've been restricted from driving, and I'm a little bit, not a little, I'm a lot depressed about it.
You've been restricted from why? Because you don't know what's the difference between left and right or something, or you don't know where the brakes are?
They worry and part of the problem is I'm having a really hard time keeping the car in my lane. I'm all over the place. And yes, I've treated stop lights as stop signs a couple of times in busy intersections.
So
And
it's
I'm a
about
danger. I'm
so
a danger to people.
you're a dangerous man.
I am a
Yeah,
dangerous. Yeah.
you're a
So
danger to society. Yeah, I'm not far behind you.
yeah.
But yeah, so
I'm
that's
only
just a matter,
57 years old, dude.
huh?
I'm only 57 years old. That
Yeah,
just sucks.
I'm only 73, so we're right close together.
You and I are almost a flip of numbers. We're reciprocal.
I don't know. That sucks, man. Did I let you ride a bicycle? What happens? You ride out in the middle of the street on a bicycle?
I'm sure they would, but I'm not going to do that. I live out in the middle of nowhere. It would take me literally hours to get to anywhere.
So what happens when you're actually driving? You're just driving and you listen to yourself talk and you get carried away by your talking and you don't.
No, I focus on the road because I know I have to, and I'm I'm like a ping pong ball between the lanes because instead of making micro corrections, my reactions to what's happening are so slow, and I'm not processing it fast enough to make those micro corrections to keep the car, in the middle of the road. And you know, get it.
That's
I
creepy.
don't disagree with them. It's just depressing.
Yeah, I wonder if something like re-educanesiology would work. Re-educanesiology or educanesiology. it's just like exercises you do to get your left brain and the right brain working together. And I think you could look it up. It's
Yeah.
just like a little exercise so that you do. It just gets your left and right brain synced up.
I've been doing binaural beats to do that, to sync my brain up for
Well, that might work. Yeah.
for the last 5 years. It's really within the last year that it's started to really not work anymore.
Huh.
What?
Hmm? Hey, Pat.
Hey,
We're talking about brain waves. You know anything about brain waves?
no,
Yeah. I know we got
I
them. I'm
just,
not really sure what they
I
are.
know we got him, but just, there's no info on it. Sorry. I
Yeah.
can't get a background. How do I get a background?
You go over to where it says videos, where the little video icon is usually at the bottom left of the screen. Bottom left, where it says
Switch to
video.
gallery view. And,
No. It has a little image of a video camera right there next to
oh,
where the mute is. And in
yeah,
that
okay.
it's got a drop down menu. And then and one of them is choose a virtual background.
Well, okay. It doesn't
So,
matter. Everybody knows I'm in my car.
You see where it says stop video, Pat? Beside the mute
Huh?
button? You see from on the bottom,
can't
from
get-
left to right. It's
Yeah, I
got a
can't
mute
get it.
button.
Oh,
then-
yeah, I
then
see
it's-
it. Yeah,
Then it's
where
got
is
stop
it?
video. You see stop video?
Yeah, yeah.
Press the arrow.
it's got a little arrow up, and that'll give you a drop down menu.
Oh,
And
share.
it says choose
Oh,
virtual
okay.
background.
Only
Yeah.
the host can share in this meeting. How
No.
dare you, Brian?
I know.
Is that right?
Brian's such a bully. He's a bully, is what he is.
Control freak.
Hey, by the way, I'm going to get the show started in a second, but did you ever thought of one of those little motorized scooters there, Kevin? They go around pretty quick.
I don't. My
Is
house.
he on a scooter?
My
He's got to go 15 miles to the grocery store.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I don't mean like a disabled one, like those, like they look like, what do we
Oh.
call it?
You're talking about like a
Those
golf cart?
Hover around.
No, they don't look like a golf cart. You
Well,
put
no.
one foot on them and you go like this.
Oh,
they're
those
like
little
a-
scooters with the little handle on them.
Yeah.
That old lady, the hover round.
I guess so. Yeah, they go pretty good. I see people going all over town with them.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to get me to Eastern Washington.
Oh,
I think you should take up tennis. Does any of your neighbors have a tennis court?
No.
But that would get your eye-hand coordination working better.
Are you
Anyway, I'm
injured,
gonna-
Kevin?
Well, it seems that I have early onset dementia, and I've done everything I can for the past 5 years to stave it off. And it seems like
Are you
I've done-
serious?
yeah.
My dad had dementia,
Yeah, it sucks.
and he had well, he died about 80. He's about 85. He just it just isn't. He I'll just say this one thing. He would come. I used to watch him. I'd come over to the house, and he'd watch my mom. He took care of my mom. And I remember one day he came out. This is in the morning. He opened the oven up and turned it on full blast. And then he turned the space heaters on. And it was 90 degrees outside. And then,
oh my
then
gosh.
he turns the heat on. My sister's there, and she's sitting there. I go, she goes, I am literally roasting. I mean, come on. I mean, and we kept telling him, hey, it's hot in here. And my mom would be just covered in sweat. I mean, I don't know how she could stand it,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it messes with the temperature function or what of a person? I have no idea.
Well, I mean, Kevin has a hot temper, so maybe.
So with my diagnosis, the type that they say that I have, I've already exceeded the expected lifetime by about 5 years. So
Oh, wow. Well, good for
I'm-
you.
Well, how old are you?
I'm 57. I'm not that old. I'm a young man. Well,
Yeah, I
I like
know.
to think I'm a young man.
I think I was
You
still
take
working
back
at,
those
I was
green
still, I was
bills?
still working in the construction at 57.
Yeah.
How are you doing at walking? Can you walk good, like around your path?
Yeah. Right. They put me back on beta blockers for my heart. And
Hey, by the way, we are live, so do you want to share this live?
Oh, no, not really.
Because
You
we're
are
live on the
live,
Pork and Bean
Kevin.
Show right now.
Hi, Robin Haynes McCray. It's nice that we have one guest.
Hey, everybody. My name is Port Cunningham, and I'm here with the world's handsomest man, the one, the only, the legendary, Frank Oliver Baines. This is the Pork and Bean Show, and we are joined today
My girlfriend's
by,
name is Sally Pease Green.
yeah, no, that was funny. The one you came up with, Kevin, earlier was
I didn't come up with it.
again,
That was legitimately the gal's name, Crystal Clear.
I know, but it wasn't funny. That's my point.
Crystal clear persuasion.
Yeah, that was
There you go. Now that's good. That's good.
Believe it or not, check this out. So I'm at the Nebraska conference. This is maybe a couple of years ago. I'm down in Harriet's basement, and I keep on singing this Crystal Blue Persuasion. And I'm sitting there, why am I freaking singing this? And then someone chimes up and he says, please have Harriet play more music around the house. I'm saying, okay, I'll tell her. And, I got on my phone, I turned on Crystal Blue Persuasion and played it. But that was one of the another weird experience.
So the Sasquatch people like that.
Harriet?
Harriet McFeely, right?
Well, I don't know. I think it was Harriet. He said he was Harriet's husband.
What?
Oh,
So
He called you on the phone, or he gave you money?
no, telepathy. That's how ghosts communicate.
Wow.
You didn't know that?
Well, I kind of figured it because they don't really have the air in the lungs. It's kind of thin.
It's the telepathy is the universal
language
communication. Then you got like I see in conscious communication. It's almost like a download. I mean, just not even, you don't even have to think about it, and you already know what they're talking about. I mean, it's really wild.
It is wild. You're lucky to have such a good, what do you call it, connection to that.
yeah.
Well, I mean, there is good and bad in everything, and there's good and bad in telepathy. I mean, just face it. I mean, I've kind of dealt with. I mean, I was asleep one time. I was in my little zone there, and I saw the black cloud in my zone. It's like you're in a dream state or whatever. And I knew it was bad. I mean, from the get-go. And it's stuff like that. I've woken up and I'll hear somebody in my mind, hear them just like I hear you right now. Okay, sitting there, okay, I want you to say this. And I didn't, because I know what they're doing. It was a spell. And I didn't say it. They wanted me to say it. And so stuff like that, like I said, there's good and bad in all this stuff. I mean, you can be a saint and you're still going to have to deal with this stuff. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is,
Yeah.
Yep.
There's good and bad in all everything, even the Bigfoot, dogmen, all of that. I mean, look, I read posts and stuff on some of the posts, and like it's all like Little House in the Prairie stuff. But I'm sitting there, I go, well, wait a minute, where is the reality in any of this stuff? I mean, when you're out in the world, that there's no Little House in the Prairie, and just like in the cryptid world, there is no Little House in the Prairie. There's reality, and that's what you deal with telepathy, and you're on. It's sort of like going online, and you're on Messenger, and you have no idea who, it's a name, but you have no idea who it is. And that's the same thing with telepathy. If you don't got a feel for who you're talking to, then they can do anything to you. I mean, I've woken up and been things talking through my Robin heard me. I was talking when I was asleep, and I would doze off at work. I mean, this is unbelievable. I doze off at work, and I would be like that, and I'd be chewing something. Now, why am I going to chew something? Sleeping at work. Then something had to have been, well, hey, let's go ahead and connect the pad a minute. And let's see what he's doing, that type of thing. And that's what I think happens a lot. And this is the first time I've kind of said something like this, but it does happen. And there are instances that, like extraterrestrials, ETs, they come in and they take over people. Just a fact.
How do you decipher? What are some of the clues that you have that it's a benevolent or malevolent? How do you tell the difference?
Okay, so I'm in a car, okay, and this is a true story. So there's a lady. I'm pretty sure she was into the black arts and stuff like that. So I'm driving, and man, I'm telling you, something came off her and went through my noggin here. I could not believe. I mean, have you ever seen the movie? Well, anyway, when it went through my mind, it was absolute pure chaos. I mean, I could not believe it. I'm sitting there, oh my God, what the hell was that? And you saw these images in a flash, and it was pure freaking evil. I just couldn't believe it. I was floored. I'm sitting there, holy shit. And then I didn't feel that again until I was in Michigan, and I was at a restaurant with Robin, and there's this guy there, and I felt it, and I felt it on him. I'm sitting there, holy Toledo. I said, wow. But like I said, if you feel it, you'll know it. I mean, you'll know good, you'll know evil, because it'll be just like that. And that was pure evil that I felt. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Robin says, and I agree with this too. This is my experience. She says, energy never lies. You can feel the good or bad. And I think that's
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
you'll know.
Yeah.
You'll know if it's good. You'll know if it's bad. My goodness, the bad is, you just don't even want to mess with it. You don't want to get involved in none of this, the black arts and stuff. Once you get in that stuff, you can't get out. I mean, I've talked to, I'm not going to say who it was. He's on Facebook. And he told me, I told Mike about this. Remember, Mike? Well, he said he did I'm not going to say it because I don't think I
Doesn't
really
matter.
have
Just
it.
tell us what he said.
Well, he said he was that the Illuminati asked him to join their
Oh
organization.
yeah,
Remember that, Mike?
yeah.
And he
I,
said, and I'm serious. He sent me the blood pack, and there was this bloody thumbprint on the blood pack. He says to them, he said that they said to him that he wouldn't be able to join unless they personally gave him the blood pack. It was just a paper. He got his bloody thumbprint there, and then he's supposed to chant to whoever. And you know, but my thing is all this stuff. I mean, you always think of it's the thought that counts. Well, it's the thumbprint that counts, buddy. And you don't go ahead and you do that. I've heard so many instances like on YouTube and stuff like that, these singers doing blood packs, you know, to get rich and famous. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, in this world, who knows, you know? And but he he elaborated what they would give him. It was basically, he said, $500,000, $1 million credit card, a passport, you know, like a passport or visa to any country in the world, 6 weeks vacation anywhere in the world he wanted to go, and 50,000 a week. I'm not kidding. He told me this. This is what they told him.
I know who you're talking about, but I'm not. We're not going to
Yeah,
mention
yeah.
his name. But do you
No, I'm not either.
do you believe that actually happened, or is it just a figment of his imagination?
Well,
Did
I
that
believe it
actually go
actually
down?
happened because we've been solicited by the Illuminati to join them. They send us stuff in Facebook.
Okay, so what would be the? And I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'll take it at face value. But what would be the benefit for the Illuminati for this individual or you or anybody to join them? What are they trying to accomplish?
Heck, I
Because
don't know. Trying to get more people on their side. I mean, I guess only they really truly know. I mean, there's a lot of evil in this world, and it's not going to present itself to you. It's hidden, I think. And when you join this organization, it's like a mouse trap. Boom, I got you. And that's how it goes. I believe it
Yeah.
sincerely.
do you think they would go after people like you and Robin and because of the good work that you're doing or whatever? Is they're trying to stop you from
I
doing
know.
that?
Well, what's happened to us is um they sent their little thing, and of course we didn't respond. I mean, but afterwards it's like, I mean, you get into these financial binds and stuff. It's almost like they try to starve you out or something, you know. And I think that's what they do with a lot of people. And we want you to join, and I've actually had telepathy. I mean, you can call me crazy, you can call me nuts, and they're basically they called my name. It's Pat McCray. We want to meet you. This is telepathy. I'm not going nuts. I know what I'm doing on this stuff, and I know that it's not me saying it. Like, oh, I'm just saying it by myself. It's not. And I'm not going to that. There's no way on earth. And there's also points where they say, basically, we just want your cooperation. You know, that, and then basically the guy, the whatever creature or whatever that came to the house that saw Robin. I don't know if she's said anything about this, but
She's in.
now that we're in the subject, okay, so I'm gonna stop talking about all this stuff. Let's kind of change the subject a bit.
Yeah, well, let's talk
Kinda,
about Sasquatch, good and bad, and
yeah,
intermediate. The reason why I ask this is because you gotta when you start off saying reality. I listen to this guy Steve Isdall, right?
yeah.
And he gets like maybe 10 or maybe 15 pretty much negative, you know, they scared me, I peed my pants, I'm traumatized. And then he'll get one or maybe two that the Sasquatch are okay, they're just people, and they're kind of a neutral. And almost zero does he get that the Sasquatch are good people and
Oh, I think they're
they're good
fantastic
friends to
people.
have. So there's
Yeah.
you can't us
I,
being in me being in the friends category. I think they're all friends, but in fact,
hey,
that's not what's going on out in the world.
well, I think they're fantastic people. I mean, my goodness, you want them at war and act with watching your back. I mean,
Mhm.
really, that's what I think. Uh,
Yeah, I think
and there's, uh, like I said, good and bad in the world, and uh, you know, here's another kind of a tidbit. This is when I first started in this stuff, and I'm just like minding my own business. And in my mind, I see human beings. They're they're hog-tied, and it's obviously another planet or something. And the sight was just unbelievable. I mean, I couldn't believe I've seen it. And I when I see something like that, I just don't say anything, because once you start saying stuff and you communicate, they're in. So I don't say nothing. And then there's been times where one of the eaters, the Bigfoot, they eat other beings, eating something, and in my mind. So there are good and bad with Bigfoot, ETs, and everything else. That's a reality. It's not Little House in the Prairie.
How did you, why don't you go right back to the beginning? How did you start getting mind speak, and how did you start realizing
I've
probably at a
always
young age
had
that you were different than other people?
I've
Or
always had this. It's just I was wondering that myself, and then, you know, I think basically, I mean, when I was young, I would I had an experience, and the bit I saw Bigfoot, and I would go down to a river and fish, and I after seeing that, they took the memory from me, okay, and I lost my train of thought here. Um, they took that memory, and now they've taken this memory from me. I'm not kind of sitting there. What the frick am I talking about? It's like, boom, wow, what the hell? But they they took the memory, and then I think what it they I would I remember when I was young, and no, we didn't find out what this was, and I would my hands would kind of shake like that, And, they took me to the doctors and psychiatrists and stuff like that. And they had no idea what it was. I never did find out what it was. Well, years later, now I think I have an answer, because I think basically, if you hear of post-traumatic stress disorder, that's what I had. But what happened was my memory was totally, they blocked the memory of that. And my being abducted when I was 9, Robin helped me remember that from the ETs that had abducted me. I remember seeing the ship being put on the table and my kid voice saying, "Leave me alone." And I had a dream just like that after I had the memory revealed to me, and I had the dream, and I heard my own kid voice say, "Leave me alone." This is pretty wild. So, I always, like, with psychic stuff, it was like I'd be, like going into Walmart or a grocery store, and I'd say, "Well, God, there's somebody here from work, and gosh, there he is," and I'm sitting there, how did I know that? It would happen all the time. I mean, just sporadically and stuff like that. I'd watch a football game, and with my brother, and I'd see the play happen before play even started. And then I tell him, I said, "Well, I still remember the player's name, Ned Bolkar, intercept that pass. And he's gonna run that thing right in for that touchdown." This is before it even happened. Boom. Exactly what happened. I'm sitting there, and he goes, "Whoa, how the heck did you know that?" I said, I was just playing dumb. I said, "I don't know, but the stuff would still happen." I said, "Well, God, this happened again." And then what I do is I kind of just forget about it. Oh, well, it just happened. And then I go off my daily activities, jobs, stuff like that. And then came Leesville, Indiana. And that's where everything exploded for me. It did. I mean, we had a friend of a friend. He went over there to do some investigation. The lady was hearing strange sounds, and she thought maybe the Bigfoot were over there. Okay, so he went over there, and he told me, she says, "Well, she's seeing something." And I talked to her. She said it looked like a gorilla. It looked at me. So I called her, and I told her, I said, "Well, hey, I'd never done anything like this before. Never. And I was in the Army. I hated the woods. But, I said, because it was, you got your ticks, and, snakes and the scorpions and stuff like that. And it's like 100 degrees when I was in the Army, like in Texas. So I went ahead and I called her, and I said, "Well, hey, talk to my friend there. I mean, can I come over there and just research?" I don't know why. Just curiosity, I guess. And so I go, "Well, hey, can I come over and look at stuff?" And she said, I think she said every other weekend, or she didn't want me there all the time. I said, "Well, that's fine. I mean, I don't think I'd want myself there either." But anyway, I went there the first time I went there. I went with my brother. I told him, I said, "Come on, let's go look at it." And so I snap a picture, and that's where I heard the wood knock. Heard the wood knock right off. And then later on, months later, picture, I saw something in it. I didn't see it. Somebody else did. Said, "There's something in your picture." I go, "What?" And then there he was. just sitting right there with his eyes, the brow ridge, right inside the bush, looking at me. You couldn't see him even if you wanted to, but the camera picked him up. That was the first time I ever was involved in any of this stuff. I mean, I had the wood knock and then the picture. The second time, okay, I go up and she's with me, the lady, and I'm going in the car. We go in. She had a gate. She had to lock it and stuff like that. We drive up, and we had her husband. Her husband was an absolute complete skeptic. I mean, he just didn't believe in any of it. Maybe that's why he never saw anything. But anyway, up in the woods, there was a black cloud, huge black cloud. You could see it right off. And I asked her, I said, "You see that?" And she says, "Yeah, I see it. And it's moving up in the woods." I don't know what it was. The only thing I can think of, something evil. But it went away. We went on, and we probably didn't see anything that day. Every time we went up in that area, I saw stuff. I noticed stuff. So I'd say it's the third or fourth time. I told them, I said, let me try something different. Okay, let me go up by myself. I'd had a gifting station up there too, and I'd put food in a Ziploc bag and just leave it for them. They took it and everything, and some wild animals took it too. You can tell the difference. But anyway, I went up, and then you go up, and there's like a hill. You go up, and it's a round trail that comes around, and it comes back to where you are. So I go around, I'm looking around, and I don't see anything. I mean, I don't know. I probably would have ran away or whatever. Who knows? I don't know. But anyway, I came around, and there it was. The big black hole that I saw is on my right-hand side. I'm sitting there, what the hell is this? It was a portal, and it opened right next to me. I'm sitting there, holy shit. And I'm walking and trying to get away from this thing, and it comes up, and somehow it disappears. And then what I see, and I probably saw it in my mind, something shoot ahead into the trail, and then it appeared in an instant right there, and it was a pear shape, and then it disappeared. So that area up there, and it had a lot of stuff I seen. I saw this one, like, the only way I can describe it's like if you show a torso of a human, and it's just down to the midsection, and it's pure black, but there's like crystals and maybe diamonds or something, jewels on this thing. And I saw it. They were with me, and I said, well, I just saw this, and I don't know why I saw it. I had no idea. And I went up a trail. There's a trail there, and I went up there, and there's the washout. I've explained this on other shows before. And it's a washout where when it rains, all the stuff just comes cascading down at a certain point, and like a flash flood type deal. Anyway, I go up there, and I'm not anticipating anything, nothing whatsoever. And this is how it always happens. And you go up, and I look down, and there he is. Okay. And just picture a skinny kid, or he's he's really small, but he's like the size of a, let's say maybe a 9-year-old, human 9-year-old. Okay, so I see him and picture a body, but it's totally blacked out. But you still see, you don't see any definitions, but it's blacked out. That's how I saw it. So I'm looking down at him. He's climbing down into the washout. And he goes, and then he goes off, and he's gone. And for intents and purposes, it probably was a young Sasquatch, because I believe, and I've had this happen numerous times, where they're not skilled in the cloaking, but you can still see them. I've had, the food truck job I had one jump off the truck, and I saw him, and he didn't cloak quick enough, because I saw him. I was looking right over there, and there he was, gangly arms, long arms, and then he was kind of like a light pumpkin color, reddish type color. And then the minute he landed, boom, he cloaked. But I saw him before he did. And with the kids, like the kid I saw over here going to work one morning, he was, if you've seen the movie The Predator, that's how it looks. And he was just like that, and he goes like this. And my headlights are hitting him, and he covered his eyes like that. And I think I kind of scared him, or he says he was scared. And what will happen is they're not capable to control the cloak 100%, because they're young. I mean, they're just learning this stuff. And that's what I think happened. And just some lot of weird stuff. I mean, and then after, well, various things happened up there. We went up there, drum beats. I mean, I told her, I said, is there a band? Is there a Indian reservation around here or something, or a high school band or something? She go, we heard these drum beats. Indian drum beats were up there. I'm saying, what the heck is that? She heard it too. And I have no idea. We heard a Sasquatch yell, heard that. She heard it too. And that led me to call my wife. My wife called me, and then she told me about, well, she really opened my eyes, because I saw it. All this stuff was science fiction, and the portals and the ETs and stuff like that. And I always thought, it was. And then to find out that this stuff is real was mind-blowing, because I'm a guy, I'd be working, and I was a working fool back then. I'd work and work and work. And to me, that was to, keep my family afloat. You keep working to, provide. And that's what my gig was back then. And it's, I think, well, I lost my train of thought again.
Let me ask you something then. Do you believe you and Robin were brought together, and how did that happen? How did you meet Robin? And you
Well,
guys have what do you guys do? Because I know you do a lot of work.
I I can't tell you everything. We met like the phone call. I talked to her, and then we talked for like 2 years, and then we were married.
But wait a minute, but how were you first, you just didn't phone some random number? How did you,
No, the friend, he come up and he called her and said, "Well, hey, I got this guy that he's got this weird haircut." That's what she told me the other night. Back then I shave all my hair off, which it just looked ridiculous. And I agree with her. I agree with you. But he said he had a real nice guy. Could you talk to him? And then that's when she told me about the portals and all this other stuff. And that's it right there. That's the first meeting of me and my wife. And the rest is history. But what happened, I used to work at a place in Indiana, South Bend, and it's an elevator company. And I would go to work and stuff like that, and every job that I've had except Cracker Barrel, they've been there. They've already been at Corteva, the place I'm at right now. They've been at FedEx, Lowe's. I used to work at Lowe's. I used to drive for there, and they always end up finding me. And what the key is with me is I'm kind of like Brian and Mike. I'm kind of like Robin's kind of intermediary between the Sasquatch. Okay. There is a protocol. There is. And a lot of them follow the protocol to the letter. And it's sort of like a seniority type thing. So
explain that better. Explain more of the protocol. What do you mean by?
Well, I'm trying to. I am a
Sorry.
communicator for them.
Yeah.
And the protocol is they can't talk to her because she's a higher grade, I guess. So we've had instances where they've talked to me and they can't talk to her because of the protocol. And I mean, that's not all of them. I mean, there's no manual for this, or, I'm no expert in it, but this is what I've went ahead and done. And, for communication between me and them, I'd make the rules, because the rules now are, I made the rules back then. Your name. I want to know your name. They followed it. And then most recently I said, well, hey, it'd be nice to see somebody, your name and see you. That's never happened yet. But, I've seen Bigfoots physically, but that was one of the rules that I established for communication, and they followed it to the letter. And another thing that I say to them is my friend. And usually when I hear someone in my mind say my friend, it's usually a Bigfoot, because I establish that with them. And when I talk to them, and Robin talks to them, I hear that a lot, my friend. And their thing for me, it used to be, they would call me the man. The man. I'd hear that in my mind all the time. The man. And so this is like, we're in bed one night. I'm just trying to give you verification of that. And I woke up and I hear this tapping on the window. I'm sitting there, what the heck is that? And Robin didn't tell me she's trying to communicate with the Bigfoot. So I guess in my mind a little, I think I said it out loud, but then I said it in my mind. I said, well, could you please stop your tapping? And so he goes ahead and Robin says, well, why'd you stop communicating? He says, the man told me to stop communicating. So, I mean, that's validation for me that they do communicate through telepathy right there. And then you want that validation. I mean, my goodness. I mean, who would not? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're talking to beings that do not want to show themselves. And you got ETs and you've got, flying saucers flying around. You can't see them for some reason, and
Hey Pat, if you're saying, I get the impression that that Robin might have, two or three or four Sasquatch that are more or less at the head of the line, and they talk to her, and then the other Sasquatch are just not really allowed to butt in. So that makes like a protocol there, and then
yeah, there is.
then they bleed over and talk to you, and then I'm sure you must have.
It's
It's like a
basically,
hierarchy or something.
well, that like, okay, so we had Robin does a lot of energy work for the Sasquatch. I'm just trying to explain this protocol and stuff like that. So, we had the Robin was in the hospital. This is when I first met her. Okay. And I was at her house and I was leaving. Well, I was sleeping over and I noticed, and I know this beyond, I can still feel the fingers. Okay. I was asleep and something opened my mouth. I felt that. I know it was fingers. Open my mouth and they placed something in my mouth. Okay. So I wake up and then Robin says, I had to go back to work, but I wanted to give her a kiss before I left. And I told her, I said, no. Well, she wanted to kiss me and we both mutual wanted to kiss each other and goodbye. I told her no, because basically I believe put something in my mouth. And if I kiss you, you'll get something will happen to you. I told her. we unfortunately we kissed anyway. And what happened to her was she had developed almost like I swear she had a physical exam recently, and it was a clean bill of health. And then now all of a sudden she gets sepsis, pneumonia. Are you kidding? Okay, and this all leads into what I'm about to say. She got over that, okay? But after that, then we call it the tar lung. So what we were seeing, and this is probably an ET thing that was put on the Bigfoot. Okay, it was what happened was they would develop this tar substance in their lungs. And we've had, Robin did energy work and stuff on them to help them and to cure some of them. And they would come to me, and she was kind of frustrated at times because, they wouldn't come to her at all. I mean, they would just come to me. And they explained it to me. It was a protocol. and we can't talk to her because she's not in our pay grade or whatever. I'm just saying that, but that's, kind of a story to explain the protocol and stuff like that. And, there is so much involved with this stuff. I mean, it's mind-boggling. And, and when you get activity and stuff like that, you'll be, it won't happen for a while, and and then all of a sudden it comes in waves, and boom, boom, it happened, and I mean, we're so used to it. I mean, over here, I mean, you know, even when at the beginning I was in Michigan, I was driving for FedEx. I knew it wasn't a dog. Something jumped across the road. One leap. I think it was a youngster. I talked to him through telepathy and stuff like that. Talked to him, and then the one Bigfoot up in Michigan again. I saw him. He disappeared right before my eyes. And then South Carolina, I saw one in the back of the Motel 6 parking lot. It's weird. There is a fence back there, and there are woods back there, and he is behind the fence, and he was tall. Boy, oh boy. I saw his silhouette in the moonlight, and then walking dogs, I saw his face. His face was kind of shiny from the moonlight, but the thing is, I didn't say anything. I wasn't scared. I wasn't the least bit frightened at all. And then Branchville, I'm driving, and we're driving. I think we were looking for a house, and I saw the Bigfoot shadow form, and he crawled underneath a guardrail, just enormous, and went under there, and he's gone. And come South Carolina, the one that was in the window, transparent, totally transparent, but you could see his eyes and his whole body. I mean, but you could see right through it. And then I'm at the table, and Waka comes out I got a picture of that one. She comes out, and she's out in front yard. I mean, this is broad daylight. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was like, I can't describe it. I mean, it's something out of a sci-fi movie or something. And I'm looking at it, and then I said, well, man, I better get a picture. I got a picture of it. It's really weird. And she says it was her. She says, yeah, it was me. And because I had talked to her that day, and she was saying stuff. And, but how she appeared was really weird. It's like almost like an undulating mass. I mean, I'm dumbfounded. To this day, I still don't know how she appeared like that or what, And
You mean her face was shifting as you were looking at it?
no, this was
No?
a mass, Mike. And I looked at it, and it did look like fur. It did. It looked like fur, but it looked really, really weird. I mean, like I said, I just cannot describe it except like something out of a sci-fi movie.
So she had a mask that she would put over her face, or it was always there?
Oh,
No?
no.
Well, I'm not getting it.
She was in the yard, and she was there. I looked at it physically, and I saw what looked like hair coming up, and it was just a mass the way I saw it. And it's just, we see so much stuff around here that I mean, I saw it, and you know, it kind of amazed me about how it looked, something out of a sci-fi movie. But you know, you turn your head, and if you turn your head or you blink your eye, it's gone. That's how it always goes. They're quick about, you know, just disappearing, and they're very secretive. So I'm heading this whole area here. Where I'm heading down toward. We got my son-in-law, Robin, and me in the car. We're heading down on one of the dirt roads in front of our house. Okay, we go down there, and we stop, and we're just looking at stick structures and stuff like that. So I look over in the woods, and I see a baby Bigfoot or something to that effect, going from tree to tree. This is off in a distance. I'm sitting there, what the heck is that? And I think they let me see something, you know, maybe it was I think Robin said maybe it was a portal or another dimension I was looking through. And we continued on, and I saw something cross the road. It was so fast. It was unbelievable. I mean, I immediately, I said, what the heck was that? And it just like that. And I'm sitting there, wow. And it left on the dirt. It left the dirt. You could see the print on there. So my thing is, and they always talk about it. I mean, how can they be that fast? But in reality, we're that slow. You see what I'm saying? That they are in a different vibrational level. This is what I believe. And they're looking at you, and I believe you're standing in space. You're just like frozen. And they're looking at you because they're at a higher plane of vibrational, and they're vibrating so fast. And your frequency and stuff like that is not vibrating as fast as they are. So you're going to appear really slow to them, like that. And I believe that sincerely. I mean, I saw it on Star Trek, but think about it. It makes sense. It does. You know?
Mhm.
What
Makes
do you
a
think?
lot of sense.
Yeah. Hey, Mr.
Okay.
Wellington.
He is.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I wanted to know if you wanted to chip in and ask some questions or something, but let Pat finish his comment because what? About how fast or slow?
Well, if you would have, and the same thing goes for the stuff in the woods that I was explaining, the thing that popped out of the portal, different vibration.
Yeah.
And it was as fast as lightning almost, probably faster. And then, you know, I'm sure it was a Bigfoot crossed the road and stuff like that. Just absolutely lightning fast. I'm sitting there. I mean, it's bedazzling. And like I said, it's at a higher vibration. And basically, you're seeing them. They see you, but like I said, you're at a standstill and you're just like looking at them. And you know, you're like a statue. But if they're at the higher vibration, they're going to actually see you as a statue. So
Yeah.
when they jump into a higher vibration, that's what I'm saying, because it's a flesh and blood, but they can go from flesh and blood. I mean, they can astral project themselves, and they can go ahead and cloak. And then when you do that, they can jump into a higher vibration. And, you know, the thing is, if we went through one of their portals, I don't think we'd survive, because it's possibly at a higher vibration and stuff like that. So they told Robin, I think, that they're not sure if she would have survived going through a portal, but she says she has. So So
You know,
maybe we can.
the martial artist people have they talk about that as a process of doing the martial arts. They call it the quick step, where you can move really fast.
Yeah.
And yeah, and
Well,
there's people who talk about that humans can do it too, but it's like a martial art kind of thing you got to really develop. And yeah,
well, you know,
but they got it naturally, it seems like.
Yeah. I think some people can. I've heard of people like mothers or whatever where I can't remember who exactly told me this, but where a baby was going to fall down the steps or whatever and probably get killed or whatever, and the mother was there like in just a
a
split
human
second.
baby.
Yeah, and the mother, yeah,
Okay.
and the human mother was there just in a split second, and can't explain how she got there. And I've heard stuff like that on a few
Yeah,
occasions.
I've heard stuff like that before too. Yeah, I mean, it happens. Just really can't explain it other than the fact that, you know, they really wanted, in a time of despair, and well, not despair, but an emergency situation, be there for their kid, and somehow the universe made it happen.
Yeah. Did you want to chip in there, Mr. B? Comment or question?
Just a comment, and it's more of a, yeah, I've seen my experience with my clan. I have definitely experienced them going so fast that they appear as a blur. In both the area in which I interact with them, and also when they've come to visit me in my backyard. And for those that don't know, I live out in the middle of nowhere, so my backyard's really just sort of an extension of the woods that I visit them in. First time I ever saw them do this, I was actually move that fast. I did what probably most people would do. I questioned my sanity. I thought to myself, there's no way. There's no way something can move that fast. Because all it is this particular Sasquatch was both cloaked and standing in front of a pile of dirt in my backyard, and it went from 0 to a blur in a heartbeat. It wasn't even, there was no acceleration that I could see. It was just gone. And then that was while I was looking directly at it. My only other times I've ever experienced anything like that, it was on the peripheral vision, where I was walking through the woods in an area where I know that where the young ones hang out most of the time during the day. It's like it's almost like they have assigned rooms in this one area. And all I can say is it's an amazing experience. And I actually think that Pat's description of it being a difference in vibration is probably pretty dang accurate. That's the sense I get.
I think that's unquestionable.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question about it.
Go ahead.
Let me just quickly tell you what my wife saw one time up here in British Columbia.
Okay.
She saw what we think was a juvenile, or she saw, I didn't see it, moving from one tree to another. And it was going so fast that it had an energy signature trailing behind it of its sort of like its image, like in little, almost like the cartoon, you know, where you see the,
Yeah.
you know, and it was moving so fast you could see like 3 or 4 or 5 energetic versions of it as it was moving along.
Oh, wow. So it looked like, you know, the higher vibrational thing, and then his energy was trailing behind him and trying to catch up with him, so to speak.
I guess, yeah, that makes sense.
That's
Yeah.
the only way I can
There's
describe
other
it.
people. There's other people who've actually done teleportation. There's a guy he's on one of these other talk shows that I heard him talk about it, and he went into depth about it. And you have to get into what's called the gamma brain waves, which is the highest brain wave that we that's how they're describing it anyway. You have to get into that, and then you have to. It's a teleportation. What you do is you have to see yourself like in the Bahamas, or you have to see yourself, right? And then
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
then if you see yourself and you feel like you're there, then your energy catches up to you. So I've heard somebody talk about that's what the Sasquatch do. That's actually a form of teleportation where they'll see themselves go across the street and then into the woods, and then so all you see is this blur, and then a little, and you lose sight of them, and then a little blur right where it's across the street, and it shoots off again. So you really don't see hardly anything. But it's like an energy transference. They're actually moving their energy body first, and then their physical body gets pulled along with it. Something like that. I don't know. It'd be good to.
Like a form of astral projection.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
they can basically,
exactly what it is. That's what
yeah,
Well,
come, you know, like the other day, this is maybe a couple weeks ago, I saw a shadow, all shadow in the bedroom. Robin was at the Nebraska conference, and there it was. And I seen it before. I'm pretty sure it was a Bigfoot. And you know, I'm still alive. I didn't panic or anything, which is an oddity because you see this in your own home. I hear other people, I tell other people this and says, you weren't scared, you know, and I said, no. I mean, with all this stuff, I mean, we have dealt with this stuff ever since we've been, at least both of us been involved in this. We see so much stuff, you know, like force fields in our bedrooms and stuff like that, on the walls and stuff. I mean, you know, UFO. I saw UFO above the pine trees beside the garage. Robin saw a triangle one in front. She saw it twice, and then I've got video of the one that my son-in-law took, of the one that was next door, a UFO. And it's a top A video of it. It's just incredible. I mean, you see the lights and stuff. There's no sound whatsoever. You know, a guy that I know, he says, yeah, it's a silent helicopter. Okay, sure. So I mean, he told me that. I said, okay, maybe that is what it is. You disagree, you know, like you disagree with them, you know. I mean,
yeah.
but you see the video, and you know, you see some of the stuff live, and you know, but you know, like on some of the, you know, all the energy and stuff like that, you know, when you get involved in this stuff, and I've always said this before, when you get in it, and once you know what you know, then you get it, you know.
Yeah.
You just, and I know Brian knows what I'm talking about, probably
Yeah.
Mike, is you just know what's
Right.
going on. It just happens. And you don't
Well,
question
you
it.
don't question it. Yeah, that was what I was going
Yeah,
to say. You don't question it because it's like, well,
yeah,
there it is. It's
exactly.
just there. It is, right?
Right.
Yeah. You just know in your mind and your heart that that's what it was.
Right.
And then when, you know, and I feel this all the time, is this connection. I'm the only way I can describe it is a connection to the universe. I
Yeah.
feel it inside me. I do. I don't know. I feel it every day, and I'm connected to something. I can't describe it. I know it's there, but I mean, wow. I mean, it's like there every day. I can feel it through my whole body.
I agree with you.
Wow.
100%. You know, I think the fear thing, like I've never had any fear either. You know,
Yeah, I
like I said,
mean,
I've had him appear right in my room and stuff. And I just
really?
said, oh, that was cool. Yeah, right out of a cloud of smoke. One guy appeared in my room, and I just thought that was cool. And I think the reason is there's a familiarity there that might just below in the subconscious, but there's it's just like yeah, we just accept it, like you said. It's just like it just is, right?
Yeah, I mean, you experience it all the time. Hey, this is our reality. This is our, you know, everyday stuff. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
it's just another day. And I'm sure it
Right.
was with you, Brian, and everybody else that's involved and stuff like this. It's your everyday norm.
Yeah.
It's
I
really,
mean, no matter how wild or unusual it gets, it's just like it's never fear. It feels magical and you feel blessed to experience it, but there's no fear involved.
yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say you know, the Sasquatch have an advanced understanding of energy. So I think that the way that they can appear anywhere is it's just like thought is energy. So they basically or virtually just have to think, I'm going to show up in Brian's room, and there they are, or whatever the case may be, because
I think
it's
that's
just
exactly
they
it,
just
Brian.
think it and
Yeah.
they're there.
And
Yeah.
for example, like you're connected to the universe. Now, this is when this stuff first started, and I thought it'd be neat. I always say this and kick it around a bit because I thought it was just absolutely fascinating. What happened was I saw a movie, and I have to explain this not really numerous times, but once in a while. But there's a movie on Gaia. It was called
Hey, what's that whistle? Sorry, what's that?
Yeah, what is
oh,
that?
that was my phone.
Oh, okay. I thought we were having some
Notification.
supernatural thing going on
Oh,
or
no.
something.
But anyway,
This movie on Gaia, yeah.
yeah, it was, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, this guy, he got a camera and a high power camera lens, and he would go out and point it into deep space, and he would capture pictures of ET motherships, and you can see them. I mean, you could see the ships, and they were just huge and massive. So I thought to myself, I said, well, hey, if I kind of look at that, and I always, even before any of this started, I always thought that a picture had energy in it. And I've always believed that. So I focused on the picture, and then, I saw myself going through space, and, I'm going and going. I see stars and stuff like that. And then I end up on ship, and I see two, and I knew I had a connection because you always know, and I know Brian, when you know you have a connection, you know it. And I did. And there's a ET and a guy, a human with a white beard, and I had a connection with them.
Was that me?
But
White beard.
Brian. No, but he was an older guy, and
Well, okay. Yeah, so far you haven't
it was you, Brian. What the heck you doing?
Anyway, it was an older guy. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I just, and back then I didn't know I could, kind of communicate and stuff like that. So I just thought it was neat, And but with all this stuff, with abilities and stuff like that, there's a progression. There is. It's just boom, 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 boom. You'll notice you can do something more, and then it just keeps going. Like with the downloads, I could never, when I first started doing this, I didn't do that. It was all like communication with like talking and stuff like that. But then it started to be where I would talk to them, and I'd instantly know what they're talking about in a millisecond. And sitting there, wow, this is kind of neat. I don't have to do really any thinking. It's like almost downloaded into your mind. And that's what
I've had that where on a number of occasions. One time I
pretty
was
wild.
walking. Yeah, it is. One time I was walking in the woods, and all this, I could feel this download of energy. Like, my whole scalp was like tingling. It was just screaming into my top of my head. And then I just knew stuff, like it was just like no questions, no conversation. It was just like I just knew a bunch of stuff, right? So that's what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And we've got quite a bit of, and I explained this earlier, quite a bit of UFO activity out here. I really think we found this out from another ET that we have a beacon out here for some reason. And I think that's the possible reason why there are so many ships. Now, one night, we're out, we would have a fire. This maybe a couple of years ago or something like that. We'd start a fire out front, and we had the logs, and we started, and then off in the distance over here, you could see the ships. And so I got my flashlight out. You flash them and stuff like that. And they know that you want to talk to them. And so what one ship did, it went like this, like that, and then it started rotating quicker, and the lights went on. It saw us, and I mean, we're still here and alive to tell it. I mean, I think Professor Greer, his movies and stuff like that. I think he's got something going, because what the government wants you to believe is that every one of them, the ETs, are bad. I mean, there are some bad ones. There's good, bad, and everything. But they want you to believe every one of them's bad and not to communicate with them. So, like I said, I've had the sports model was just the absolute coolest UFO. That's my first UFO. I call it the sports model. Unbelievable. I mean, it was up there. It was like a gold color underneath, but it had the round part. It was bottom was black, and then the top was white. And it just like, I looked up, and then it just disappeared before my eyes. It's just coolest thing I ever seen.
How far away were you? How far away was it?
Yeah.
How far away?
I was in front of my garage door, and it was right above the garage. There were pine trees, and it was above the pine trees. And Robin saw the triangle craft right above the power lines or out there, and she said it was as big as the house. And she said, she was out there, she's waiting for somebody, because it was dark and nobody could see the address. So she'd wait out in the car, and she was talking to somebody on the phone to pass the time. So she went ahead, and then she saw it. It was almost like turning the light switch on. There it was. And she went ahead and she saw it. She said it was as big as the freaking house. And she went ahead and she turned the lights on in the car, and then immediately, just like a light switch, it was gone. They cloaked immediately. And my belief is with this, no, they don't want anybody to know and stuff like that. I mean, I've heard rumors and online, you hear all this stuff online and stuff, and these shows and stuff, that basically it's an agreement. They're not supposed to let us know they even exist. And I've often heard that it's almost to the point, if the general public knows about the ET thing, there'll be an invasion. So your guess is as good as mine. What will happen, if that's true or not, I don't know. I mean,
I think it has a lot more to. They're like the Sasquatch. They want to be seen, but they don't want to overdose anybody. So they've been the Starcraft have been seen since the 1920s. And
probably
been reported. I mean, reported in the
later than
papers and
that,
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they want to be seen. They just don't want to overwhelm, you know. And they would have like these little flaps, like in, you know, one little town might have sightings for like 6 months or something, and then no more for like years. But they have some kind of a plan that they're working. I'm not really
Yeah,
sure
I
what.
know. Yeah, yeah. I believe that sincerely. It just makes perfect sense. I mean, we've got this, like, the government, I think, has this soft disclosure. You know, you got the movies that have the ETs and stuff like that. But in other time periods, I mean, you don't really see that. But my God, that's all you see now. I mean, there's a proliferation. You got people talking about it. You know, you got shows and stuff like this, movies about it, and it's not going to happen anytime soon. I believe it's just not, and I think uh, it's a slow process, and I think it's just art. It's just absolutely just it's too slow, but uh, you know, it's up
Yeah, you're
to
talking 100 years, but then the Sasquatch
yeah,
are
yeah,
doing
yeah.
the same thing, and it doesn't seem like they're not coming over to your house for a picnic. They're still doing the same thing, even though they know you. You only see them for a few seconds, and that's it.
Yeah. But the thing is their time, and Robin's explained this to me, their time and our time are two different stories.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Absolutely.
their time could be like, you know, I could say a year, and their time could be 5 years or even longer. So who knows, you know?
Well, my experience is that with time, and they, I've mentioned this many times. I'll just keep it very brief. They have proven to me through messages, glyphs, communication, that they know years before I even formulate a thought or whatever, what I'm going to do or what I'm thinking, and it's a fact. There's just no question about it. Time is not linear for them, so.
Well,
Uh,
they read your mind. That's what they do. I
yeah,
mean,
but they
I'm
can
like,
read your mind before you even formulate the thought.
well, yeah, I know. Check this out. So I'm driving back from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Okay, back to South Bend. And I'm talking to one of the foots that we talked to, and he's explaining what is going on with the world these days. He explains that, just in a nutshell, that the powers to be are using these portals and CERN and stuff like that to open portals, and the beings that they communicate with hide their true intent, and they come in and they portray themselves. Some of them portray themselves as being good. Okay, so uh, I'm driving back, and just to explain what Brian was saying, you know, they read your thoughts and stuff like that. He basically he went ahead and he goes, "She's calling," and then just as he said that, I mean, Robin calls me on the phone. I mean, it's like they're uh, it's just kind of amazing, you know.
Yeah.
But it's I think, kind of telepathy and mind reading. They can basically, you know, I guess, enter your thoughts and stuff
Yeah.
like that, just like all this other stuff can.
Can I ask you something quickly, Pat? And I know you didn't want to talk much about this. If you don't want to talk about this, fine. But just revisiting this, you said that the Illuminati mind spoke with you.
No,
So
I don't know who. I don't know who it was, Brian. I have no idea. I told Robin
but
about it.
somebody did around that incident where they were trying to.
Okay, so when the Bigfoot talked to me, they never say me by my full name. It's either they've called me the man, or it's usually the man, and they've never called me by my full name. I've been in situations where we're in this one situation where there was the there in a Bigfoot was an underground base, okay, and one of the army or military guys was telling, he had an ET with him, and he's telling the ET to tell me that you're not going to get him. You ain't going to get him. But we got him anyway. But I'm just saying, that's, you know,
Okay. So the message came from an ET or a Sasquatch. Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Because the alternative is pretty scary.
There's so,
Except
you
that-
know, and the thing is, there's so much. This is a whole, you're just not connected to the earth and stuff like that. You are connected to the universe. I mean,
course.
you can talk if you know, and it's all thought driven. It is. All of it is thought driven. I mean, if I want to go to Mars and ask to project myself on Mars, I think that, and then I'm there. Okay. I mean, I can't do that now, but I guess I'm not up to that level or whatever. But I
But the
realize,
Sasquatch can. No?
yeah, they're at that level, and it's all thought driven. Okay. For example, now, if I want to prevent somebody from communicating with me and I don't like what they're saying, I am going to think myself a cone of silence on my head.
Yeah.
And nothing will come through because it's all thought driven.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then
Robin actually taught me that.
you can do that.
I was being connected by somebody I didn't want to be connected with.
Just
And she
cone of
just
silence.
she just taught me how to put a bubble of protection or whatever it was, and I stopped those transmissions. So you're absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. It's
I
pretty
like
neat.
what I like what you're saying about the universe. I mean, we got to start thinking that what we're really an interface to the universe, you know, and stop thinking that we're just a physical human being running around here. We're that, but we're an interface to the universe itself.
Yeah.
You got ebbs and streams and times and stuff like that, all coming from the universe. And basically, I believe that, you know, I believe in God's, you know, and Christ and stuff like that. But when you know, you're talking, when you pray and stuff like that, you're talking to the universe. And a lot of times, you know, the universe is going to answer back. I mean, you just don't, you know, a lot of times, you know, it doesn't answer back when you want it to. I mean, you got karma and stuff like that. And let me tell you about something about karma. Okay. So I got in a car. This is wild. So this will explain, and I believe it was the universe's way of correcting things. Okay, so I got in a car accident. Okay, and it was a bad one. My car, I could drive it home, and on the, you know, and they fixed my car. Okay, so I didn't have insurance on it, but the company, the lady, I guess in Indiana, it was up to them to say whether they wanted to fix it or not with their insurance company. Well, they fixed it up to par. So then one day I'm driving, and this is the same car, and I'm driving, and it's raining, and I will go ahead and I run into some guy's back end, and it's almost like I couldn't believe it. It's like almost the same stuff that happened to the car before. I'm sitting there, I go, what the heck? And I thought to myself, this is the way the universe goes ahead and somehow corrects things. You know what I'm saying? Or rights things. So, I mean, it was an instant. I mean, that's kind of what I think. It could be something entirely different or not at all. I mean, like I said, there's no manual on this stuff whatsoever. There are no experts in this stuff. It's just you go as you know, come as you go, and how you feel, and you, like I said, you just know.
Yeah. By the way, Big Pasta, Mike Colantonio says, "Hey, Beef Wellington, I see you, big dog. So you better say something to show me you're not just a pretty face here."
I'm just
Say
a pretty
something?
face. I'm just a
No,
pretty
no.
face.
No, you can't just be a pretty face because we got the world's handsomest man here, which means
Oh.
that you have to contribute. Now you have to contribute something.
That's right. I'm being overshadowed. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glorious and golden.
That's right. You have golden pea, right?
When I'm glorious,
Yeah. Well, did you want to say something there, Mr. Beef?
Not at the moment, no. You caught me lollygagging, actually.
Oh. Well, when you don't want to, because I know you have to go in a while, right? So I thought maybe you wouldn't like to.
No, this is great. Pat's doing fantastic.
Yeah, you know what? It's great we don't have Robin on because we love her, but when Robin's on, you don't get a word in edgewise, Pat, and we're enjoying your stories.
oh, what a
We love
cool-
you, Robin. Don't put
I
a
like
jinx
your
on
I
me
like
now.
your headliner hand light. That what is that, like a dome light? That's
Yeah,
cool.
I'm out in the car. It's getting dark out, so I turned the dome light on.
Now you got special effects. I like it.
We've got a whole slew of studios in the house and in the car. I mean, we do. I mean, when you go on a show and stuff like that, and then if somebody comes in front of the house or a blade of grass blows in the wind, the dogs start barking. And
Right?
I mean, you just like, whoa, you know, it's like, oh my God. I mean, the dogs. And it's really a lot of noise. So we've learned from that, and we've got particular studios where we go on shows. I won't say some of them. One of them's, you know, the car, and it's totally silent out here, and there's no dogs.
Speaking of interruptions, a couple of times since this show's been on, we're like an hour and a half now. I heard whistles. Heard a couple of
No,
whistles.
that's my phone.
And
That's
what's
my
that?
phone.
So when it whistles?
Yeah, it's like a bird call notification. But in all honesty, I mean, out here, like I used to park the car in the back there, and I hear it every once in a while. And
Speaking of dogs.
they're right in the woods. In the you look at our house, it's on the left hand side. They're in the woods all the way back, and I'm back there, and you know they single. You know, they'll go ahead and, you know, whoop, whoop, or, you know, owl call or something like that. And it's like right when I show up and you hear it. And it's a single, you know, I'm up and I'm going and stuff like that. And I've heard it in the front yard. And I mean, let's kind of talk about the picture thing here that we have, that, you know, like I'm in the front, okay, and a lot of times I'll go, and if you go ahead and just take a picture, I've got a new setup on my S22, the Samsung. It's got a special night camera on it, which is really cool. I use that sometimes, and I'll go out in the front, and we've gotten quite a bit of stuff out. That's where I got the dog man peeking out from behind the tree. That was like at dusk, just getting dark like it is now. And I honestly believe he didn't think I saw him or was going to see him or take a picture of him. So he just showed up, and there he was, boom. Robin got one right here on the side over here. I'm like right by it. The bushes over here. I mean, clear as day in the photo. That is the best dogman photo I have ever seen. I'm sitting there. Well, there's another one. Is the dogman in the tree? He's like 25 feet up in a tree. That's another good one. But I mean, you know, and in the backyard, I got a female Bigfoot, and you could clearly see what she's doing. She didn't want her picture taken, so she's like this, her head down. She didn't want me to see her face. Okay, and then she put her head down. I snapped the picture, and then, you know, you go off, and I got my little editor, my photo editor. I can zoom in to like 4,000% on the photo editor, and you know, and I'm sitting there, I'm looking. I said, "Oh my God, what is this?" And there she is. She's got her head down, and not wanting her picture taken by the camera because I'm out there snapping, and she knows what I'm doing. I mean, some of them, you know, like the one that was looking at the dogs one day. We got a picture of her, and she explained to Robin that she loved watching the dogs play and stuff like that. But she had like a hairstyle or something on top of her head. So I'm thinking, you know, that, you know, the Bigfoot ladies, they dial their hair up too, you know. I think so. And they put on perfume, like you know, like me and Robin at a restaurant, we smelled a nice coconut scent, and it was it was a Bigfoot. And we're in the woods in Michigan, and they did the same thing. We're in the car, in an enclosed car, and then they let the floral scent through the car. Just, I don't know how they do it, but they did. And all this stuff is, I think, all up here in the mental thing. I mean, when, you know, like I'll be driving, this is in the morning sometime, and I'm driving in our neighborhood, and just to explain, you know, and some lady at a conference, she goes, "Yeah, I saw him in my third eye." Well, your third eye is your mind. Okay. So I'm driving up there, and I see 3 Bigfoot. Now, it's almost to the point where it's so seamless you don't realize it. But you look over there, and I look, and I see them, but I'm actually seeing them in my mind. And there are 3 of them. They're running side by side, and they're running toward the woods. So um, pretty wild stuff. A lot of this stuff with the Bigfoot, it's all in your noggin. The majority of it is. I mean, if they don't want to show themselves, then it's got to be that way, you know. And like I still, this one dream I had, and I was I was outside, okay, and I don't know if this is some way how they advance your abilities or whatever, but it seemed like an important dream to me. So I'm outside, and I'm like really hurrying. This is in the dream. And then I believe they let me remember this. They don't let me remember a lot. I don't remember my dreams hardly at all. But when I do, it's a coup. But anyway, I'm in the dream, I'm running into this house, and I come into a room, and I'm behind a wall. I'm hiding behind the wall, and something's going to happen. And then what happens is there's this huge white light explosion, boom, and then I wake up, and I'm thinking that was somehow important in a way, possibly, you know, something for me. later on, it's just the things that happen to you in these situations that you deal with, this paranormal stuff, that you just get the feeling that that's what it was. So that's what I think it was. I mean, maybe later on, it'll be something, I'll find out something different, but for now, that's what I think that dream meant. So pretty wild.
Well,
I've had,
you said you saw you were being chased. Is that what it was? And then you saw
no,
bright white light.
no.
You're
What would
hiding.
happen was, in the dream, I was running from something. I don't know if I was being chased. I think I was basically running. Something was about to explode. So in the dream, so I went in the house, and instinctively you're gonna hide behind a wall, then you'll peek around the wall and look, and that's what I did. And then the explosion went off, and then I woke up. That's what happened.
Hmm.
Well, on that note, I need to sign off, you guys. I have some work to do, getting dinner ready. Got some guests coming tonight. Pat, thank
What's
you
for
so much.
dinner?
Basically fish tacos. My wife has this fantastic recipe that I am so excited she's cooking. You have no idea.
Fish and tacos should never be in the same plate.
Oh no, they
Man, you're
should.
crazy, man. Fish tacos are the best.
No, I hate
They-
fish tacos.
Oh,
they are the
man.
best.
Well, you probably
Well,
never had a good one.
I've actually never had one.
They don't
Okay,
they don't let Mexican restaurants in Toronto or any place like that.
But taco is beef, salsa, that cheese, no
Brian?
fish on there.
Margaret and I moved to California for school back in 1992, and we kept hearing about this local place that had fish tacos, and we swore we'd never do it because the picture we had in our head was a flour tortilla with a trout, in the middle of it, and we're going, "What are you talking about? You don't do that." Well, we finally
Exactly.
right. Well, we finally decided to try it, and no, it's nothing like what you think, and it is so fantastic. Anyway,
Well, you're incorrect. But,
no. You're just being myopic, my friend. Anyway, on that note, Pat, thank you. Brian, thanks for letting me be on. I know I didn't contribute a whole lot.
Oh, hold on a second. Bill Steenbeck says cilantro, and I hate that too.
Oh yeah.
That tastes like soap.
Cilantro. What?
Cilantro tastes like soap.
Do you know what
you gotta
cilantro's
go
good
down to
for?
Mexico for a couple of days.
Right?
No,
You know
no,
what
seriously.
cilantro is?
No. This is seriously. Apparently, there's a gene in certain people, like cilantro, and cilantro is that that the taste of cilantro affects that or whatever. But people either like it or it tastes like soap. It literally tastes like I'm eating a bar of ivory soap or something.
Do you know
You're
what
not supposed to eat
cilantro
it
is
like
good for?
lettuce. You're supposed to eat it mixed in with salsa or mixed in with
Right,
stuff.
right.
It doesn't matter what it's mixed in with. It tastes like soap.
So for people our age, we grew up with mercury amalgam fillings. And unless you were a really lucky person and didn't ever have any cavities, you have a toxic load of mercury in your system.
True.
And cilantro actually helps you chelate that stuff out safely. So even if it tastes like soap, you ought to try it.
Well, I did. Otherwise, how would I know it tastes like soap?
Well,
So
I
you're
know.
having cilantro and fish on tacos?
oh yeah, baby. It is good. It is so
I'm so sorry for you.
Soap tacos.
What's that?
Soap
What's that?
tacos.
And you know what,
Soap and fish on tacos.
Brian? You know what tacos are made? The taco shell's made out of grits. They just mush it together and cook it like for flatbread.
Oh, the
It's
corn
grits.
ones?
You don't like
Yeah,
grits
corn
either.
and flour.
It's corn, isn't it?
well,
Yeah,
yeah.
they have
There are
corn
corn.
flour.
Yeah.
Grits. That's what
Grits are
grits is.
corn.
Grits is corn.
Yeah, the
But
grits.
there are some of us who like flour tortillas better, even though that's really sacrilege.
Well,
Corn ones don't
maybe
do
I got the wrong impression on grits then, because Tom Cantrell told me that grits was chicken droppings,
Oh, you did?
Are you kidding me?
like chicken poop or something. Yeah, that's what he told me. So every time I heard
Hey,
you were eating
Brian, you
grits,
can get grits and cheese and put anything in it. Grits and down here it's grits and shrimp. I mean,
Oh man, now you're talking. You can
That
have
and
grits and
grits.
sausage, grits and shrimp, grits and
Yeah,
fish,
grits
grits
and
and beef,
cheese. They
grits.
do that down here
You
too.
know,
That's pretty good.
Yeah. But in any event, Kevin,
Yes.
if I ever do come over and visit you and you invite me over for dinner, I want one of them big thick steaks that you're always bragging about. I don't want a fish taco with cilantro on it.
Okay, that's fine. I love cooking.
Because I don't want to be,
steak.
rude, you know. I
You
don't
don't
want
wanna
to be
be
sit there and pretend
So
I'm
what you're
liking
telling
it.
me, what you're telling me, Brian, is you have no control over yourself. If you're presented with fish tacos, you can't control yourself.
Yeah, probably you're right.
Oh, okay.
If I have a fish taco with cilantro, I will likely be out of control.
Okay. Well, on that note, you guys have a great night, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
But that's the truth.
Getting darker.
Yeah, you're getting more mysterious. So let's get into some
Yeah,
of your
I
more
know.
mysterious stuff because you're looking pretty
We'll
spooky
have a
now.
Bigfoot up here pretty soon.
Hey, yeah, I wanted to ask you, and you know, this is sort of in jest, and you know, it's kind of this is my wacky sense of humor, but I know the Sasquatch, they listen into this show. So what do your guys around there think of the Pork and Bean show? Because I you know, it's funny and it's not, because I know that they listen in.
What do they think of it?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never really kind of asked them about it. I mean, the thing is, when you've got, you got telepathy and stuff like that, you can actually know when someone's listening. And
Absolutely. That's how I know.
you can know when someone's listening. They're listening, and like on, like I'll explain a situation at the elevator company in Indiana. So a lot of times, I think the reason why they showed up there was a lot of times I was alone, and I think it was 2 or 3 females show up, and what they do is how they show themselves. They're vibrating, but they don't show their true form. They're in a vibration mode. I mean, you can see it. They're blurry and stuff like that, but they show themselves for a second. They want you to know that they're there. Then they cloak immediately. So they basically wanted me to open a portal for them. And I told them, I said, hey, I can't do it. But thing is, and I was just explaining, somebody somebody's listening. Well, on that same note, not in that same day, there was another, he showed up in the back door. Okay. And if they want you to know they're there, they will, present themselves into your thoughts, your mind, and you just know they're there. And he wanted the same thing, and I just told him, I said, I can't do it. So they must think I can do more than I can. I don't know. I think a lot of things happen, Brian and Mike, happen in dream state. A lot of stuff happens in dream state that we don't know about. I know I've got Bigfoot friends I talk to and communicate in dream state. I feel that sincerely. I believe, one night, basically, I awoke in dream state in outer space, and that was just the absolute. It was breathtaking. I just could not believe what I was seeing. So.
You can be awake and be in the dream state too. It's sort of like semi.
No, I agree. Like I was at work the other day, and check this out. Tell me what you think. But I'm on the forklift, right? So I've got a pick sheet and I got to look for a number on, we got scan things. So we scan it, and then, we start picking and pulling stuff out to get to that particular skid. So I'm on the forklift doing this stuff. And then all of a sudden I realize I'm pulling from the wrong lane. I'm sitting there, what the frick is going on? And to have it happen once, but twice is a very big oddity. So there I am. And then all of a sudden, I go to another one, and my God, I'm in the wrong one again. I'm sitting there, I go, what is going on? And it felt like I was out of my body, but someone else or something was doing the forklift work. Odd as heck, I'm telling you. And then, like, I was in the back of a truck. It was it was FedEx. So I'm rummaging through packages. The same thing happens. So I'm rummaging through packages, and then all of a sudden, here I am. I'm driving. What the hell happened to getting and walking in and sitting down and putting my seatbelt on? That didn't happen. I was immediately driving the truck. I'm sitting there, what the frick?
Yeah.
And wow. I mean, you just kind of wonder what is going on. And the thing at work, I think, was basically, as Mike said, they'll pull you out and you're in dream state during the day. I believe that sincerely. It's happened, you just feel it, it's happening. And, a lot of times you'll wake up, and let me ask you too this. A lot of times you'll wake up sometimes, and man, you will be almost like, what the heck happened? You're supposed to be sleeping and resting. You wake up exhausted. Has any of that happened? Has that happened to you guys?
Yeah, I've
Sure.
often woken up
Absolutely
way more tired
exhausted.
way more
Yeah.
tired than when I went to bed.
Yeah, I mean, I've woken up, and the whole day I'm sitting there, what the hell is going on? I mean, I told Robin, I said, my God, I just feel like I want to sleep all day. And, and you got plenty of rest. I've had that happen just numerous times. And it's probably the fact that basically that's what happens in dream state, is basically you're doing something that's, I guess physically exerting, or I don't know. But I believe sincerely, if you look at the Matrix movies, that, a lot of people may think this is bunk, but you can actually get hurt in dream state. I've had it happen. Robin's had her arm broken in dream state. I've had my knee screwed up in dream state. And I woke up that way, my knee, and I woke up, I went to work. My knee was red when I woke up. I went to work, and I thought I did it at work. And I thought back, I said, my knee was fine until I woke up. And I woke up that way. And like I said, she's had her arm broken, and she remembers it, what happened and stuff like that. It's just like what in the movie The Matrix. You get hurt in dream state, you're gonna get hurt, and it's gonna show.
Mark Roberts made a comment about referring to him asking you to open up a portal or whatever, and he says, they know you can eventually. And didn't they used to ask Robin to do things, and she said, I don't know how to do that and whatever, but she did know how to do it, right?
That's when she was first started getting into this stuff, she didn't know a lot of stuff. I mean, she didn't.
But they knew she knew it. But they knew that she could do it. Yeah.
Of course, they knew it.
Right. Yeah.
And so she just didn't realize she could do it until they kind of I poked and prodded her and said, well, you know, you can do this. But she came to the realization that she could. And I really believe that it's them that are doing the poking and prodding and saying, look, you can do this, you know, and they just basically, they kind of present itself one day in, you know, like a situation. And then you realize that you can do said ability or telepathy, whatever. And it's just how it goes. It's a progression of your abilities. And it's like that with everybody. I mean,
Well,
I think
I
you're
remember,
right.
I remember when I was young, I used to think that I could heal things. I have no
well,
reason why I ever thought that, right? And then
yeah, exactly.
eventually
Yeah.
they
And
started working with me through that, and I have done some miraculous things with that. Now I don't
Yeah.
really, I don't do it often,
just,
but you know, it's like they already know. They already know what your
like,
abilities are and what you can do.
yeah. And the same thing with me looking at pictures and realizing, and it was almost like an urge. Like, I mean, I knew, and I'm sitting there, I go, you know, I can access what's in that picture. I thought to myself, I can do it, but I didn't know how. So, you know, you just kind of put it in the back burner type thing. And that's kind of what happens with a lot of this stuff. You put it in the back burner and you wait for a day, you know, like, for example, you know, you look at a footprint, you can basically tell if it's a female, male, Bigfoot, and you can see what they're doing in your mind, and you can converse with them. A lot of them will say, you know, hey, it's nice to see you. You're welcome anytime, you know, come on, visit, stuff like that. Well, the visitation is probably during dream state. So, I mean,
Yeah,
that's what I think it is. And there's this thing with dream state that it's just a whole other ball of wax with this stuff, and that we don't know about. And I mean, that just 2 seconds of looking at myself in outer space, and then the view that I saw, it tells me that dream state is just absolutely spectacular. But I mean, I've heard, you know, other stories of basically, you know, people that they're fighting in dream state. Like, um, they'll, this is one show, and he said he basically he fell asleep, and then they were teaching him to fight other beings and stuff like that. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you don't remember in dream state. Just a lot of stuff. I wish I could, you know, like I said, the 2 seconds that I remember myself in outer space is floating there. I wish I could remember more, but I think it's more of a safety net. And
yeah.
You know,
for not
you were
only
talking
the
you were talking
Bigfoot,
about
but us.
portals. Remember when you were talking about portals? I agree with you. I think this stuff like opening portals. It may be maybe it's like really simple. It's just that we don't know how to do it. It
Well,
could be
yeah, no,
because the
what it
shamans do it, the
is,
Sasquatch do it, the ET people do it. It might be
what it
something really
is
simple.
it's a thing with your hands. And I have no, you know, maybe I do that. I've woken up, you know, maybe I do it in dream state, but you know, I've woken up, and these are two instances. I've woken up and literally my whole body was vibrating. I'm sitting there. I didn't panic. I wanted to at first because I didn't know what was happening. And then I just sat there, and it was like, it was just incredible. And it subsided. Okay. And then it was gone. And then the other time, Okay. And I still remember I woke up, it's 5 a.m. in the morning, and somehow I drifted off back to sleep. Maybe they put me to sleep. Anyway, I don't, I guess maybe I saw it in my mind that something was carrying me to the bed. And I'm coming to the bed, and then I'm in bed, my body is, and then I'm put down on the bed, and someone, whoever it was, kissed me on the cheek. I felt it. And then the minute
Wow,
they
cool.
put me on, the minute they put me on the bed, I take a deep breath and I wake up. That's
Wow.
that's and a lot of times when you're in dream state and stuff like that, and that's at least that's sometimes how I wake up. I just, immediately you take a breath. And dream state is just basically it's an enigma wrapped inside a riddle, wrapped inside another enigma. So I'm not even gonna basically try to figure it out, because basically you can't. I mean,
I didn't understand that.
What was
it's a
that?
phone. That's my phone. Hold on.
Well, I thought it was divine intervention.
No, it's my phone.
Well, she didn't understand what you just said, I guess.
No, it was your Google assistants.
There we go. Hey,
Yeah.
have you and Robin ever this happened to me twice, and I'm wondering if you or Robin ever experienced this, where you're just like in a neutral you're just standing someplace, and all of a sudden you're in a whole different reality. Have you or Robin ever experienced that?
Oh, like in another dimension or something?
You're just like on your back porch or something, looking out, doing something, and then all of a sudden you see yourself in another reality or something, like see yourself as another being or doing something before you were born or something like that, or something like that. You guys ever
It's
experienced
like
that?
almost like premonition or something like that.
No, it
But-
wasn't a premonition. It was actually happening. It was something that actually happened. It wasn't a premonition of something that happened. It was I
Well,
just saw
explain it.
myself. What's that?
Well, it's kind of elaborate more.
I've told this story a few times. Okay, I'll tell
You
you
have
one
to
of them.
expose them. Okay.
No, well, I mean, I kind of have to explain it then in order
Yeah.
to get it. One time I saw myself as a praying mantis being. And I just said that knowing that I was that being, and I could see my limbs and everything moving. And I just said, wow, that's me. And there was another friend of mine who was with me who was the praying mantis being as well. And the other time I saw myself pre-birth planning what I was going to do in this lifetime. And it was just like I was sitting around with another person at this kind of like this war room or this planning table or something. And we were planning what we were going to do in this incarnation. And it was like, it wasn't like, it was more than a vision. It was like I was actually there. I saw myself doing that. So what do you think what do you think of something like that? Well, how about you, Beans? What do you think of something like
I
that?
don't know. I
think it's all on the table. It's all possible.
Well, it happened. I know it's possible, but
anything's possible in this stuff. And what happened to you probably really did happen, Brian.
I know it
mean,
did, because there was that knowing there.
It's almost like for the eye of the eye, your eye, basically, you understood it to be that way. And it's only from a personal perspective that that that's what it was. I mean, and I really believe that you were seeing something. I mean, I really do. I mean,
Yeah.
this stuff There's no coincidences in this stuff.
No.
And it's all from a personal perspective that you see these things and that you feel these things. And the dilemma that we have these days is the haves and the haves nots. And you've got people like me, you, Mike, and stuff. We see this stuff, but then they're the have nots. And that's why there's so much discord and jealousies and fighting and bickering in this field, is that I think a lot of people are jealous of the fact that they can have what you've got. And like with me, I didn't ask for any of this. It just happened. It did. I mean, I wasn't sitting there
Me
praying,
too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Come to me, Sasquatch, that didn't happen. It just happened. And,
Yeah.
And people that, they're jealous and I want this and I want that. That's why, you see, people, I mean, they're just running out to the woods and hoping they'll have an experience and stuff. But you've got to, and the thing is that what Robin does and what I do sometimes is you have to explain almost like the ground rules to all this. And I've stated some of them tonight. I mean, this is not Little House on the Prairie. It's not. And there's good and bad out there. And that's the reality of the situation. And people have got to realize that. And a lot of people, they want the Little House in the Prairie stuff, and I'm sorry, but I'm telling you, that's not the way it is.
Well, I've been very fortunate because I've never experienced any negativity so far. It's all been benevolent. And like Robin said, and I said, you can feel it through the energy. So I think maybe the Sasquatch or whoever is guiding me,
you can.
are protecting me from that other stuff, or maybe my something is preventing the negativity from coming in, but it hasn't so far with me. But I agree with you. I mean, I'm not saying it's not out there. Of course it is. Of course
I
it
think
is.
it has a lot to do with vibrational frequency.
That's what I said. Yeah, I think so.
That's what I've seen. And when I mean, when you're just sitting there, and then I mean, this is one instance. I wake up and there are 3 beings that tell me they want to kill me. I'm not lying. 3 midgets. And they were, I'm not kidding you.
No, I know it's not funny, but it sounds funny.
I know it does. They were serious. And I must be doing something serious in dream state. And then I'm like in the house and I'm just minding my own business. And all of a sudden, a reptilian comes in my mind and says, he's going to do away with me. And now, is that because I'm in a lower vibrational thing? I doubt it, because this is reality. And basically this world that we're in, and they interact in this world, and they're here, and they've probably seen me in dream state, and I've probably done some things to them that they don't like.
Yeah.
And basically that's what they want to do with me.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
What the simple
fact,
reason is I don't remember that. So
yeah,
that's.
No, I'm not, and I don't dispute that. I'm just saying with me, it could be somebody just like watching out for me. They're like, kind of like they're stopping these things from coming in or something, because I've never experienced it, or maybe they're.
Oh, I agree, and 100%. Yeah. I mean, you have a protector, and you've got somebody watching, and the Bigfoot are always watching and stuff like that, and
Of course.
they're gonna protect you. And that's just how it is. You know, and I mean, I've gotten so many, and this is the thing with me is like I've always seen stuff, and I don't know what it is or what, but I mean, I'll go out on jobs and stuff. I'll see, like little people running around. I'll see their legs, and they're walking off into the woods. I'll drive up, and I'll see somebody like, it'd be like, beam me down, Scotty, that type of thing. And they're materializing right before my eyes. And I'm like looking right at it. And that's happened more than once. And they're coming and being beamed down by something. And it's, with me, I mean, I think validation is a good thing, but I've always had this, and I think Robin too had this ability to see things. I'll see Bigfoot, and I'll see things, the little Bigfoot road, and I'll see things. You probably guys have seen it too. Often to the, your peripheral vision, you'll see something move.
Right. Yeah.
Really, kind of what was it? And
Yeah. But
just kind
those
of
that,
one.
yeah. Well, I mean, those that they contact and they're working with and through, we all go about it in a different way, and we all have. I think there's a.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. Yep. 100%.
I think there's a core truth between all of us or whatever, and some people may not be listening to it, but I think that the way they contact us and give us that information and just the way that we work is all different, and unique, which is kind of neat.
Oh yeah, I agree 200% on that. Yeah. Everybody's different in this stuff. Everybody experiences stuff their own way, and then how they interpret it and how they perceive it. Everybody's different. And the same thing goes for, like telepathy and stuff like that. And it's all different. And like I said, there's no owner's manual. There's no experts in this whatsoever. And it's all, kind of a plug and play type thing, and it's just, you learn by a progression. And basically you got, the Bigfoot, they're holding the cards, and I mean, you've got to basically, you're kind of I hate to say it, a kind of a puppet, but I mean,
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't.
no,
I don't know
I
if
don't mean it like that. I don't mean it like that, and I don't think they are like that. But it's just kind of an example. They're basically,
well, they're in control of how they connect with you. I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. That type of deal.
Yeah, but telepathy. We've discussed telepathy on this show many times, and it's not just a voice in the head or talking back and forth with them, which I have experience, not as much as you or some, but it's also thought placement, downloads, and all kinds of stuff like that. That's all telepathy too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what I think is really neat is like the kind of the only way I can describe is the downloads, and then basically, I explained the Bigfoot that I saw running, but I actually saw them in my mind. And it's almost like a seamless type thing. You just don't know which one did you actually see. Did you actually see them physically, or did you see them in your mind? So it's really, it's a lot of stuff in the rabbit hole. And as you go deeper, you get more. of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it comes in waves. You know, you could go for, you know, a couple months or whatever, or however long, and basically you won't kind of see anything, but then it'll be coming in waves. So that's how it, you know, I kind of see it. And
Yeah.
it's just a enigma wrapped inside a mystery, wrapped inside another enigma.
Yeah.
That is,
Have you
that is
have you
the
ever
big-
I've experienced this for myself, and I've also heard other people talk about it. Have you ever heard or experienced where you or Robin, or somebody who will see, like, say they'll see a Sasquatch, you know, and they'll see a Sasquatch materialize out of thin air, say, but somebody else that is in that group or with you will see something different. Like in my case, I saw a Sasquatch, and my partner saw a little dog, and I know that they can put any visual, audible, or sensory experience into your field of perception. So I know they
Yeah.
can do that. But have you experienced that? Or that, it can happen with noises, visuals, thoughts, whatever. Does that ever
I've
happen with?
experienced, I mean, I've experienced just a slew of, like, I'll be at work and there'll be somebody right next to you, and they will say basically, and this has happened, "Hi, Pat," and I'll hear it, and then the person, I go, "Did you say anything?" And they say no, and they didn't hear it either. So they can basically, do that,
Yeah.
and then make, themselves appear as a dog. Robin has actually seen them go into and morph into a raccoon. So
Oh, wow.
from I think a deer or something, or she
Yeah.
said she was looking out and she said she saw him, and then all of a sudden he like morphed into a raccoon, and that's how she said it happened. And
Yeah.
like,
Well, we know they can shapeshift. I mean,
oh yeah,
that there's no question about that. But to actually see it happen, that's pretty cool. So she actually
yeah,
saw a deer morph into a raccoon, eh?
yeah, exactly. I mean, when you talk to her next time, ask her about it. She'll explain the
Absolutely,
whole
yeah.
thing.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that you and I, and I'm not sure, maybe Mr. Beans possibly, we've seen them in their shape shifting form. I mean, we just knew, just from the for many reasons, just what was going on, just energy, just all a bunch of different reasons. But to actually see it happen is pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool. Hey,
I never seen anything. I just felt them. And had them move stuff around my house. And one time they dropped a box of books.
The thing is, when you think about, how they can cloak and stuff like that, and you see a lot of these people, and then, you got the poltergeist activity. I mean, I really believe that a lot of that stuff could be Bigfoots coming into the house and interacting that way. You know what I'm saying? Not all of it, but I do believe there are spirits that, they move stuff around. But I mean, it could possibly be Bigfoot coming in and just moving stuff around the house. What do you guys
yeah,
think?
Pat.
I think they're
Oh,
here now.
absolutely,
I
absolutely.
think there's one behind each one of us right now. I think
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
and sometimes if the energy gets right with a show, I'll feel it. Brian will feel it. The other people will feel it. It's like that connection there. And then sometimes it's just they're just watching.
I'll give you a little example of that, Pat. I was in the hospital. I was having my stents put in. I had a near heart attack, and luckily I came out okay, and I didn't have any damage, which was a miracle. But I know the Sasquatch were helping me all the way through that.
Yeah.
They showed me that by some things that happened in the hospital and stuff. I won't get into the whole story, but basically I lost something and we were looking for it, and even nurses were helping me look for it. We went up and down and around the room, everywhere. And then I looked under the hospital bed, and there it was, sitting there in a place that we had looked like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, that happens to us all the time.
Yeah. So they were showing me that they're helping. But anyway, so my car was parked outside. You know, when you're having a heart attack or whatever, you're not going to go and pay for parking and do all this stuff, right? My car was parked in a compromised place, and I was worried about it getting towed. So I got my wife, who was in the States, to phone my landlord and ask her if she would come and pick the car up, right? You know, so I'd have a vehicle when I got out and blah, blah, blah. Or actually, no, I wouldn't have the vehicle there, but, you know, so it wouldn't get towed, basically. So she's talking to my landlord. My landlord's incredulous. She said, "What do you mean? I heard him. He was home last night." "Are you sure? You sure he wasn't home?" She heard somebody rustling around in the kitchen in my house, moving around and stuff. And, you know, it was just her and I in the place. It couldn't have been anybody else. There was no one broke and entered. And then when I got home, I saw a great big huge handprint on my pillow, on my bed sheet. So, you know, that's an illustration of that, right?
Oh yeah. You know, like you're talking about, you know, them helping you physically, and then you're sick and stuff like that. I've got, like, on one of my calves, I've got really bad circulation. And I've woken up sometimes where my calf has basically, it would lock. And boy, you talk about pain. I mean, it was basically simply because of the lack of blood supply to the calf muscle that it locks. And so I'm asleep one night, and they knew I had trouble with it, and they probably were. They're excellent doctors. And, basically, I was in my little zone, my little dream state type thing. I call it the zone, and I see these two, and I thought they were human doctors. They had the surgical garb on, and I saw both of them looking at my leg, and they were touching it and stuff like that. And then they touched the area where it was spasming, and that's what they're trying to find. And I don't know, I haven't had it happen in a long time. It happens just periodically, but before that, it happened all the time. With that little dream operation, then kind of smooth things out for me.
Hey, Mr. Rigatoni, what video game are you playing?
It's called Call of Duty.
Oh yeah.
Well, how about you do your duty on the show and pay attention? No, I'm just have you met Pat McCray before?
Not officially, I don't think. No.
I knew he was going to be on the show too.
You did?
I said, I looked at his picture. I'm serious. I'm not BSing.
No.
Picture, I said he's going to be on the show tonight, and there he is. Go figure.
I don't know how you guys do it. You know, every time I hear you or Robin talk, like every single time, it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like a dot. You know, I get the dots connected every single time. Like she said something in comments before, like about tell them about when I forget what she said, but a couple of you guys heard you guys saw like UFOs or something, like flashing back at you. And I had something, like I would go outside every night for like, it was probably like a couple weeks, and there was like this star, right, air quotes, and it was like, it wasn't a star though, and like it would draw my attention to it all the time, and like it would like, I could tell it was like trying to communicate, and like I can't explain to you how I kind of knew what it was telling me, but
No, you just know, just like playing tonight, you know.
I feel like I'm talking like a Jedi when I say that kind of stuff, but like, you know, like
Well, you are, but that's all right.
it's kind of like Yoda, right? Like, you know, understand, like, yeah, it's interesting, but yeah, it would flash like like red and white, and like you'll have a lot of people that'll be like, oh, that's just what they do. Like they get, you know, blah 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 blah. They'll find some scientific reason for it, but like that's not what was going on. You know what I mean? And this star doesn't exist anymore. Like it's not there anymore. It was there for a while, and then it wasn't. So
Well,
cool.
I mean, just to kind of elaborate what he just said, like, I mean, a lot of people are really shy out with experiences and stuff like that because basically the government has basically put an absolute field of falseness in the air with everything. Like, and they're doing that on purpose. They don't want anybody to know the truth. And they don't want to make it a level playing field. What they want to do is when you look at, say, Brian's got a picture of a UFO, they want you to doubt it before you even look at it.
right.
And that's, kind of basically what all of us go through it, and, but, once, explain once you're in it, don't be ashamed of, feeling all this. Eventually you'll begin to realize, that, these things, stuff that you feel be more solid, and you'll feel that it was meant for you.
Yeah, I can get behind that completely. Yeah, like there's so much built into society that makes everybody just start writing things off immediately.
Hey, Mr. Rigatoni, do you want to share with Pat your wild experience from about a week ago? Can you give a short version of it?
Which one? Oh, the white Sasquatch?
Well,
I don't know. Was it something about your keys or something? Or
Oh, yeah, that was really cool, actually. Sure.
let's hear it. Let's hear it. But keep it. Keep it.
Keep it brief.
Well, as brief as you can, but without leaving any real details out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I was up in the mountains, up in the Catskills, which is like 3 hours. Where I was about 3 hours, no traffic from where I live on Long Island. And I was up there for a couple of days, and I brought all my stuff with me, like my laptop. I brought my Xbox, so a bunch of stuff, and I dumped it all out, and I was gonna be there for a while, so I actually unpacked everything, took everything out, and I was, walking around the room when I was leaving. I was trying to make sure I recorded everything, and so I have these headphones, and that they go with the game, and they have this little piece that it's a USB piece that goes into the game, into the Xbox system. If you don't have that, I went every which way trying to figure it out. I tried borrowing one, I tried buying one. You can't do anything without it. And if you lose it, you got to buy a whole new headset, and they're like $100 So I'm like, wow, I can't do that. So I'm literally like, I looked through all my stuff over and over and over. And finally, I'm like, I guess I'm never getting this back. There's no way I'm going to get this back. Maybe I'll call them and ask them to hold it, but that's not going to. So I'm literally like, in my mind, just keeps saying like, I'm never going to get this back. It's impossible. And the thing, I see it just drop right in front of my eyes. It hit me on my toes. And I might have I'm down at this thing, and I know where I left it. I'm like, oh, like I see where I left it, right behind the TV, So I was like, I know it's right there, and if I didn't see it fall in front of my face, I probably would have been like, oh, it dropped on the floor, maybe it was right in front of me the whole time, and it just fell down, But
yeah, that happens to us all the time. I
Yeah.
mean, the pack of pens that Robin brought at Dollar General disappeared, then it reappeared like months later. It was on the floor. The
Yeah.
key I had in my pocket
Mm.
and on for months. And then a friend of ours came over and I mentioned it. I said, well, yeah, we lost my key fob one day. And he reaches down into the couch and pulls it up. There it is. I said, where the hell did that come from? We were looking for it. We checked the couch just like he did numerous times. You did,
Yeah.
Brian. And my God, I mean, it wasn't there. And then
Right.
all of a sudden, here's where you already looked.
Well, that
And
happened to me when I was school with my key fob. It was locked in my truck for a long time, for like months. The truck was dead off the road, and I was on a trail about 5 minutes away, and I saw my key fob. As I'm finishing the hike. I see it, from like probably between me, like 10 yards from me and 10 yards away from the car. And I'm like, that can't be mine. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, it's not. It's locked in the truck. It's been there forever, right? And I keep getting this message like, it's yours, it's yours, it's yours. And I'm like, there's no, and I'm still just human doubt. Like, I'm like, nope, no possible way, right? There's just no possible way. So, and like, I just keep hearing like, it's yours, you know, like, and I'm like, oh, I'll go put it at that trailhead. They're like, no, don't, you know, like, I'm like getting like all like resistance every time I doubt myself. I'm like, all right, I'll take it back to the house. So the truck is dead. So I take like the little key part out when I get there. I put it in, and sure as whatever, it opened it up. And again, so I had stuff like this happen where I have had to do that, make stuff appear, but I had never physically witnessed it. You know what I mean? Like with my eyeballs, like full in front of me.
That's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, it was new to me. So, you know, it's amazing to me how every time I think they've outdone themselves, it's like, watch this.
Yeah. Yeah, I lost my drumstick out in the woods one time, and Sue and I walked around for hours, and we had gone up and down this particular road 3 or 4 times, and then Sue says, will you just give it back to him, please? Because, you know, when you have a nice drum that you want to play and stuff, it's kind of like sacred, right? It's like almost an extension of you. And the drumstick, I did not want to lose it. As soon as she thought that, she was maybe 50 yards ahead of me, and I was 50, you know, the road we were separated, not even 50 yards, 50 feet maybe. So will you please just give it back to him, please? And then I walked a few feet, and it was right in the middle of the road where we had, you know, looked like 4 or 5 times. It's possible to miss. Another time I lost my keys in my room, and I tore the room apart because I wanted to go out and do something. And I was even looking in, like, it was something like it was a cigar box or something that I would have never put them in. But I was looking so thoroughly for them that I checked this box like at least 3 or 4 times. Well, the last time I checked it, there they were inside of it. So
usually
that stuff's really pretty common.
all of us.
What?
Robin went to Michigan, ready to come to South Carolina. Okay. So then she's looking for her keys. They didn't want her to leave. So
Yeah.
they took the keys and they wouldn't give it back. And we're having like communications with them. And they told me, he says, well, we don't want her to leave. So we've taken the keys. And then she looked in her purse probably times. And then finally they gave the keys back and they put it right inside her purse. And she looked in the purse a zillion and one times.
Of course.
That happens all the time over here. Pretty wild.
It
You know,
is.
the thing about that I want to bring up about when you something like when Mike's a port, that the only way that could happen is if the Sasquatch was like standing right in front of you or right behind you.
Thinking, and they just dropped the keys right in front of him.
Yeah, because I was walking down. I was walking down my street. A couple doors down, I got a portal. And one day I was walking down there, and the same thing that Mike was saying, from about chest high, I saw a mouse or a rat drop out of thin air right down to the ground. Yeah, a live mouse. And then the mouse was like freaked out, right? The mouse was freaked out. He was looking around trying to figure out where to go, and he thought I was a tree, so he ran straight towards me. And I was jumping around like, you know, when a rat or something runs at you, you're going to jump around. I was jumping around trying to get out of his way. Then he figured out that I was a human, and then he took off. But yeah, that was, I mean, but at the same time, I knew that the Sasquatch was standing on the road, same road I am. He was standing right, had to be right there, and dropped that thing in front of my face. I wasn't like 4 feet, 5 feet away from him.
You're right. That happens.
When like
One time,
stories-
just quickly, one time, Randy Brisson and I were hearing these, a Sasquatch all around us breathing and whatever. And we knew they were right around us. And then we had a little rock land right between us or whatever. And I know they were just right there and just dropped it. Or
They
just
had to be
tossed it.
standing right next to you.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
well, you read these stories about, you know, people disappearing in the woods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just to, you know, I believe like when a Bigfoot cloaks and stuff like that, if they come up and they hug you and stuff, you'll be enveloped in that cloak as well. It's like an energy field, and you will disappear along with them. That I believe that. I mean, it kind of makes.
Yeah, you know, I think there's a big lesson in what Michael was saying, like about because that's the next level thing, right? They're showing that they can like drop something living, you know, like which is a whole different ballgame, you know. So why, if they can bring a mouse in, why couldn't they bring us with them here?
Yeah.
Well, and I always believe this is that, you know, the Bigfoot, they hold the high ground. Of course they would, they're trying to help us and stuff like that, but they're not going to give away the fort. And
Yeah.
it's not going to. And they've been at this for thousands of years, and they know, you know, they've probably been kind of attacked and by humans and stuff like that. So they're very careful about what they do. And
I like what you said about how they can hug you and you will be cloaked too, because a couple of times they took my little Chihuahua dog, and well, he's gone now. I was very protective of him, and I would always constantly be looking back, you know, if he was behind me. And a couple of times he just disappeared, and then I thought he was gone forever, and then he just showed up in like a different place or whatever. It was very traumatic experience, but now I know how they did it.
we came home one night and we had a cat named Dory. Every time that dinner time was, Dory would appear. And then the other cat was Forrest. We came home, they were gone. And it seemed odd to us that they were gone. I mean, Dory, she loved her food, loved the cat food, and anytime you'd open the can, she'd be there. Well, this time it didn't happen. So they were gone in essence. And we got home, we looked everywhere. And then we're on the second floor of our house. And then we're talking and said, well, you know, we'd like our cat back, you know. And then basically Dory appeared like right at our feet. And we had no idea where she came from. It's just, we've had Forrest. Forrest has disappeared. We have a portal on the side of the house, and almost in the back way of the garage. There's a portal back there that he always goes to. And Robin's seen him go out into this portal and just disappear. what it was, and I think some of the Bigfoot explained it to me, and the kids would take the cats, and they almost had like a trading thing for animals and stuff for pets. And they would trade pets and stuff like that. So that's what they explained it anyway.
What do you mean trade pets? In what sense?
Like, you get a dog and, hey, or just to, have like your own pet, and sometimes trade it off, and you want this one's pet or whatever. And that's how they explained it to me. So
Yeah. Well, thank God they didn't do that with my dog, because I was pretty upset. I wouldn't have wanted any other dog. I wanted my guy back, right?
I mean, for example, my Great Pyrenees. So I am in the other yard. I'm going over to see the neighbor. And then my Great Pyrenees is in the backyard. And I'm walking up and I hear somebody calling her name, in a real deep voice. And I know it's the Bigfoot. And, I know that, if I go over there, I'm not going to see a thing. So I just keep walking. And, a lot of stuff like that happens over here with the animals. Freya had a time where, like, our dining room, she's terrified to walk in the dining room. To this day, we had no idea why she was terrified to go into the dining room. Unless, a Bigfoot was standing in the dining room. I don't know. I mean, she's had, we've had animals in front of the screen door to the backyard, and something comes in front of the window, and they scatter, and they see it, and every one of them takes off because they saw something that scared the shit out of them. Same thing happened with the cats. Cats saw something in the front window and scattered, boom. And they saw something come to the window. Well, of course, we don't see it. I think a lot of the animals and dogs and stuff like that see the Bigfoot a lot more than we do. And Freya will go actually to the fence, and she'll walk up to it, and then she'll act like she's looking at someone, and she'll wag her tail like there's somebody there. Well, it's a Bigfoot. I mean, they like our dogs. I had a foot. He got into the garage. We have our garage door, and they went down below, and then they pried it open to get into the garage. Now he explained it to me. He says, well, basically he liked, Freya was out in the garage at that time. And he explained to me that basically he wanted to come in and play with her. And we've had times where all the cages, the crates out there, every door was open. We'll wake up and they're running around the garage. And and come out, and he explained he wanted to play with her, and they like the white, like a white dog or anything white to them is kind of sacred and stuff like that. So I explained to him, I said, well, you can come in through the back door. I mean, you can open it and come right through. They can walk right through walls and just come on in, and you can, we always tell them, I says, you can come in the house. We just don't want any trouble or, causing any trouble. And they come in the house. We've had interdimensionals. We had Job in the house. We let him stay in the house maybe a couple days, or whenever he's ready to leave, he could have left. And the Bigfoot are in the house as well. I mean, I was in bed.
Is Job a Bigfoot, or is it something else?
Job is an interdimensional, and Job I was in my car one day driving, and Job introduced himself. He goes, Job, like that. He talks exactly like a cartoon character. I'm telling you. Well, anyway, me and Robin were in the car, and Job was on the dashboard. Job went ahead, jumped off the dashboard, went in between the seats, and went into the back. And there are boxes back there, and he's flying them all over the place. You could physically see that. And Job, he's almost like a little monkey, and he's got bulbs on the end of each finger. And I know this because I saw him in kind of dream state type thing. I was asleep one day, and I felt myself floating, and I woke up in a ship, and I saw the window, and then I saw Job jumping toward me. He had the bulbs on the ends of his fingers and stuff like that. And when he jumped, that's when I woke up. So it just happens that way sometimes. But Job is interdimensional. He came to us because something was trying to get him, and we allowed him to stay in the house until whatever was trying to get him took off. So that's the story of Job.
So some of your animals like the Sasquatch, and some of them are scared of them. Is that true?
No, I all of them are used to Bigfoot. At first, Freya, when she was young, she like I said, she in the dining room area, she was just terrified. And she would cower underneath the table, and we're all sitting around, and there she is, like cowering under the table. We couldn't figure it out, right? Just a Bigfoot standing in the room, and she saw it. They can see these things like right off, better than we can.
Yeah.
Like the cats will, kind of look at something on the wall, and there'll be nothing there, but they see it. But I don't think, our dogs and stuff, I don't think there's any kind of scared if they've seen them. They're so used to them that basically it's like us. It's the norm. I mean, hey, it's them again, and they're not out to hurt the dogs. I mean, we had the female over here on the side of the garage over there by a tree. She just wanted to watch the dogs play. She said she liked it, and they were out playing and stuff like that. So, I mean, not all of this, and I believe a majority of this stuff is not doom and gloom like, people want to portray it to be. I mean, it's just basically, hey, I like your dog, I want to watch it, that type of thing.
Yeah, like I had little Chihuahuas. They would stop right dead in their tracks, and they'd be looking off into the bush, and their tail would be wagging, and I know that the Sasquatch were right there looking at them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they liked them, and they liked them, and the dogs liked them.
I mean, they had some hunting dogs here one time, and we got these hunters here. They hunt deer by like radar. They have the dogs go, and then they have the dogs on like a GPS system, and then it's legal up here. It's not legal like in Michigan or something like that. And I guess a few of the dogs they had to take out because they wouldn't leave them alone. So, and these are like hound dogs sniffing.
So I mean, we do hear stories where the dogs have been killed and whatever. So it's just when that
happens.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of this, it's important what you're saying because you have a direct connection to one who's watching your dog. And that's the important stuff there. Like, I always hear tourists, don't bring your dog out there. Like, Sasquatch is gonna kill it. Sasquatch is gonna eat it. Oh, this and like, and I get, can't help but get a little frustrated. Because I
Mike, there's something wrong with your microphone, man. It seems like it's skipping in and out or something.
It is really bad. Yeah. Do you have a microphone or what?
See, right now, it sounds like it's in a washing machine or something, rumbling around.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, try and go back.
And then it cuts out your voice, so it's a little bit hard to hear.
Okay, maybe he'll come back. Yeah, I agree with. Yeah, it was bad. So yeah, so when they're in the odd case, they will harm a dog that's threatening them or whatever. But my experience is always, from my dogs is that they like them and they want to play with them. And
Exactly. They love over here. They don't hurt our dogs. They love them, and they like
Yeah.
to see them play. They'll go out. We had when they stayed in the garage, they would open the crates and they'd play with every one of them. And we wake up in the morning and all the crates would be open. So, and then there was one time where Freya's crate was only open, and the Bigfoot that liked her would come in and play with her and stuff like that. And of course, you'd see him go out, and she'd go out and wag the tail by the fence. Of course, nothing's there, but she saw the Bigfoot.
yeah. Did you want to share any more experiences was there anything you wanted to talk about when you came on the show that we haven't asked you yet?
Me?
Yeah. Or subjects you wanted to breach?
Let me, I could tell you, a lot of stuff happened at my dad's house. And that's when the tar lung was happening and stuff like that. And that's a lot of I was cooking one day at my dad's house, and I've told you how they appear, and she appeared that way with the kind of the blurriness and the color of her, the fur or whatever. And I knew she was out there, and I'm cooking, and she said, well, she goes, what is that? And I go, well, I'm cooking like some noodles and stuff. I said, you can have some if you like. You want some? I asked her. I said, well, she goes, yeah. Says, well, I told her I'd put it. I said, well, hey, I had a paper plate. And I said, I'll take it and I'll put it underneath the bush out front for you. And next morning, basically the food was gone, but the plate was still there. She was really hungry. And at my dad's house, my dad, he had dementia, but I believe that he saw the Bigfoot. He told me and Robin one day that he was looking out into the pond. He said he saw a big dog get up out of the water. And I believe that he saw a Bigfoot, but he just didn't know what it was. We told him about it and stuff. And he was kind of receptive to the idea. And like I would come home from work sometimes at night, and I'd be asleep in bed, man. I'd be just like dragged out, tired, and they'd be kind of wiggling my feet, my legs and stuff to try to wake me up to come outside and stuff like that. And I was just like, no, I am just like totally tired. And a lot of times I'd drive for like 8 hours on that job, and driving's kind of tiring to me anyway. So this one time, Robin came to visit my dad and came to visit me over at my dad's house. it's really odd. I mean, I looked up and I don't know what it was. It was a humanoid figure and it was floating in the air in front of my eyes. And I told Robin, I said, man, do you see that? She didn't see it, but I said, man, there's something like floating right in the living room there. And it's stuff like that that happened. I've had, you know, outside my window, Bigfoot outside, you could hear them. They're like right outside the window and at my dad's house. And this one time I was in the garage, I saw something. I was talking to Robin on the phone. I saw something move. I go, what the hell was that? And she goes, did you see that? I said, yeah. And she said it was some interdimensional being or something like that was in the garage. And I mean, you know, the thing is the Bigfoot, why other things appear when they're around is because basically what happens is they're interdimensional as well as everything else. And so what's going to happen is they're going to drag other stuff in with them as well. And that's why when you have Bigfoot, you have the ETs with them, and there'll be a slew of other things with them, and that they bring it with them. So that's what I believe because of the portals. And you'll get stuff slipping in. They'll come in, and stuff will slip in after them. So, yeah, at my dad's house, my mom died, and like I'm in my bedroom, and like she whispers in my ear that she whispers my name. It was kind of cute, but just that tar lung stuff that happened, that was a big thing, and it killed quite a few Bigfoot, and nobody knows about it. Only we do. And so, I mean, we saved quite a few, and then, you know, I got rid of we really believe it was, you know, like a ET kind of thing where you release something and that tar lung would develop in their lungs, and basically they'd end up, you know, dying because they couldn't breathe.
Wow. Why do you think that happened? Why did they want to kill them?
Well, they tried to kill Robin first. And then after that, they tried to kill all the Bigfoot. So it's probably more of a government thing. I mean, the government's just about into anything, everything. I mean, they have all these underground bases, and they take the Bigfoot there, they torture them, electrocute them, and they'll do genetic experiments and stuff like that on them, on their fetuses and stuff like that. And
Wow. Horrible.
yes, it is.
Absolutely horrible. Just like blows your mind how evil some people can be. It's just unfathomable. Well, it looks like Mr. Beans is left. I think he had a microphone problem, so maybe we'll wrap it up. But did you want to talk about maybe what you think this message of the Sasquatch is? You know, I know they have many messages, but not personal ones. But what do you think the message is for people in general, for humankind?
Their message, and I've been privy to it, and what it is basically to build the bridge to other people, to mankind. And that's what they're doing now. They are trying to save this planet. It's their planet too.
Yeah.
people seem to think that we own this place. We don't. It's their planet too. And they're trying to
Yeah.
save it. Mankind is trying to destroy it. So they're basically trying to build the bridge to other people, to humans. And I think in a nutshell, doing that and trying to save the planet and trying to awaken people to the fact that we've been basically lied to our entire adult lives about all of the stuff that I'm talking about. I mean, a lot of people don't believe it, but it's true. And
I'd say lied to all our lives.
all
Because
our
the lies
lives
that we're lied about, we teach our kids, and they're brought up in the lie.
passed on from generation to generation.
Exactly.
It's just the lies just keep coming, and
Yeah.
they in the schools and everything.
Yeah.
And it's pretty, it's horrible. And I think what they want is basically teach mankind
Wake us up.
yeah, not to destroy the earth. I believe the earth is a living being.
Sure.
And it's fighting back, from being destroyed. And all they want to do is communicate with mankind, but they're doing it the safe way. And telepathy and stuff like that with other people. They use glyphs if they can't communicate them through telepathy. I believe that's what's happening. And it's a soft approach. And
Yeah.
someday it'll get a little more, it'll get more solid, a more solid approach. But I think right now it's a soft approach, and they're trying to delicately do what they're trying to do. I think the big success, I think if you look at all the proliferation of talk shows, podcasts, your show, other shows that portray them in a good light, which it should be. I mean, I think what the government wants is they want to portray them and blame them for just about everything known to mankind. And that has happened. I mean, they'll blame them for forest fires and anything they can.
Abducting 411, all of that stuff. And say they don't exist and that they're monsters and whatever, because they have a message for us that they don't want out.
Well, I mean, they've got, special abilities, and they're just like another, they're ancient people, and they live on the earth, and they deserve, and what they've told me is they want to be equals, but they want to be heard, and that's what they want. And that's what they're doing now, I think.
Well, they can teach us things that'll show us that we're not divided and hatred and
that
division and judgment and all that stuff, all the stuff that keeps us controlled. They don't abide by it, and when they teach us that, then we can't be controlled, we can't be in fear and all that stuff. So of course the powers that be would not want us to know that. So
they don't want us to know that. And one thing they don't want us to know is to communicate telepathically, because that is an absolute no, because there's no way on earth they can control that.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's wrap her up, and we really appreciate having you, Pat. That was a good discussion, and we'll have you back on.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so I guess it's just you and me. So on behalf of Port Cunningham, Frank Oliver Beans, and Beef Wellington, or Kevin,
Wellington.
and Mike Colantonio, thanks to all of them, and especially thank you to Pat McCray for coming on and sharing your wisdom and your stories. And it was really nice talking to you again.
Nice being on the show again. And thank you much for having me.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. We'll see you next time on our next show. And by the way, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Sasquatch BC, The True Story. Like and subscribe to our Facebook group, Pork and Bean Show. And we shall see you all next time. And Pat, once again, thank you. And it was an honor talking to you, my friend.
Have a nice night, everybody.
Yeah. Good night.